Hi. So thanks for folks for joining this space today.
Thank you all for joining.
My name is Kalu Aja. This is the spaces that we just want to host today. We usually host the spaces every Saturday by 8 p.m. But David has done some great work on loan shark, and I just felt, listen, we had to bring him in here to speak about that great article on the West African Weekly. Again, we talk money, personal finance, and the economy on the space. And I think this article touches on all three of them. So it's my pleasure to welcome David. We're not going to waste too much time. We're going to go right into it. So David, welcome to the space. We're going to just do a quick intro. Then I'm just going to go right into your article titled Suicide, Fraud, and Phillips Consulting, the story of West Africa's Chinese loan shark mafia. Guys, if you haven't read the article, I'm going to just share it real quick on the handle, but you've got to read it so you can follow as we ask David what's going on, right? And just let him walk us through it. So David, welcome. Unmute, say hi, then let's go for it.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Excellent, David. So big fan. I think we're all interested in, and we're all worried about this topic. It touches everyone personally. I started to do some research on this 2 weeks ago, and I was shocked at what I found. I didn't believe it at first. I was shocked at the level of brazenness, the illegality, the harassment of folks. And that's just me being polite here. You've gone much deeper than this. You were talking about suicide and all that. But David, let's just walk back and lay the framework for folks to understand. The license or the legal ability to issue a loan and to receive deposit. So to receive a deposit and to create credit, those permissions are always held by the central bank of every nation. You simply cannot open shop, issue credit, and receive deposits. And that's the same in Nigeria. So for you to receive deposits from the public or make credit, i.e. make a loan to anyone, you've got to be regulated. And there's a reason for this, right? In America, not only are you regulated, but the amount, right? The APR, the annual percentage rate, like the interest rate that you can charge, is also regulated. And it's the same thing with the Central Bank of Nigeria. The rate that you can charge to consumers also has some guidelines and regulations. You can't charge 100%, right? You can't do all this stuff. And there's a reason for this. Now, the data point for Nigeria is that a lot of Nigerians do not have access to commercial bank loans. I think the number is below 5%. So we see what's happening. People want loans. There are no loans. So hence someone called an online app comes to you and says, I can give you a loan instantly, but you're going to pay 10% per month. And of course, you take it, and then that's when all hell breaks loose. It's 10% a month. You think it's 10% per annum. You go into what we call a debt trap, and then you start to get the messages. All your friends start to get defamatory messages to the point that David is saying someone actually is committing suicide. So David, let me just bring you onto the stage, right? I'm reading the article right now. David, walk me through, if you mind, just for the folks that are listening, what's going on? How is this all about with China, with Nigeria? What is the operation of these folks? What did you find out, David? Let's start from there. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing to understand about this Chinese loan mafia is that the word mafia is not an exaggeration. That's exactly what it is. Most theories about the origins of these guys link these guys to the Chinese triads. I'm not sure how many people here know what the Chinese triads are, but you can compare them to the Italian mafia or the Japanese yakuza, that sort of thing. So they're like a really old organized crime organization in China and Hong Kong, specifically Hong Kong, which is where most of these guys originate from. Even though they also used to have a significant presence in mainland China, but they're mostly from Hong Kong. Now, ever since 2019, the Chinese government has embarked on a massive crackdown on what they call private lending. Private lending is a fancy term for loan sharking, really, because private lending is essentially lending outside of the bank system. Right, so the Chinese got heavy estimated to have arrested more than 41,000 people across the country for suspected involvement in loan sharking. If you read the article, there was a particular raid that I referenced in the city called Lanzhou, where 203 people were arrested, and it was discovered that this gang of 253 people had over 1,300 of these illegal loan apps and websites.
Correct.
Under their control, offering these high interest loans to over 390,000 people across Asia. So, and let me just quickly mention, and this goes to something you touched on briefly. These loans, I guess part of the reason why people don't immediately see how dangerous they are is that you just see it as, you're borrowing 10,000 naira, you pay back 13,000 or 13,500. It doesn't really sound so bad, right? But that's over like a 7-day period or something.
Correct.
When you annualize that calculation, that example I just gave you, that you borrow 10,000, you pay back 13,500 after 7 days. If you annualize that interest rate, you're talking more than 2,000% interest.
Correct.
So these loans are not, because I've been seeing this argument flying around that, some people just want to take out loans and they don't want to pay back. Why would you take out a loan if you can't pay back? No, it's not. This is not that argument at all.
Very true.
These loans are specifically designed to entrap people. And the people who give out these loan sharks know that a very large proportion of people will not be able to pay back these loans. They are criminals, they're not bankers.
True.
Right? So the point of this isn't to give out loans so that the economy can grow. And,
exactly.
That's not what these people are. These guys are criminals, right? They know what they're doing. Right? In some cases, and I've seen quite a number of these, unfortunately, I wasn't able to include everything in the story. In some cases, even people who have their balances fully paid up and they didn't apply for any further loan facility, they just had some money credited to their accounts.
Correct.
And they were just informed that so and so date you have to pay back. So essentially, what the loan shark wants is for you to keep on taking out this credit so that he can keep extracting this value from you. Because if you step back and look at it again from that annualized point of view, the loan shark is getting hundreds or thousands of times worth of the capital that he's putting in.
True.
They're extracting from the country. They're not bringing capital into the country. They're extracting capital from the country, which is partly why the Chinese government has started coming down hard on them. So ever since that started happening in 2019, these guys started sort of exploring new grounds across South Asia and Africa, because that's where the expansion markets are. Now, some of these South Asian countries like India, Indonesia, I think Bangladesh as well, and the Philippines have started introducing regulations specifically to deal with this threat of illegal loan sharks from China. But on the continent, we were a bit slow to react. Let me just put it that way. So our regulations haven't caught up yet. So it's still pretty much just a blank sheet, right? They have a blank slate to do whatever they want here. So even though on paper, as you mentioned, there is very strict and clear CBN regulations saying that if you don't have a CBN license, you simply cannot offer consumer credits, full stop.
End of story.
That's what it says on paper. In reality, in practice, compliance is a very long way from that. I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard, for example, that some of these guys have actually been able to gain access to the BVN database. Some of these guys have been able to gain access to the NIPS database using, all sorts of third-party partnerships with some of your, fintechs whose names I'm not going to mention. So these guys have been able to sort of end run the regulations that exist in jurisdictions like Nigeria and Ghana. They've been able to get around regulations and basically do whatever the hell they want. So, which is why I referenced this in the story. I saw a tweet from a guy saying that this was a tweet from 2020. A guy tweeting at Sogolo and saying hey, I've paid my loan, but you've not acknowledged receipts.
Yeah.
And he made the payment into his bank account, and he tweeted a screenshot of the payment receipts. So I took down the payment number and I sent 50 naira to that account to check whether the account still works. And lo and behold, this was last Friday. The account still works. It's still active.
Which means that it's oh my God. Oh yeah, David, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So Soko Loan, by the way, first of all, was fined 10 million naira by NITA last year, and then March this year, just 2 months ago, so it was raided the FCCPC. So you cannot tell me that Zenith Bank is not aware that this is an illegal loan shark.
We're gonna get.
And yet, at least 2 years, that account has been active, and it's still, as we're talking right now, that account is still
active.
So they still taking money into that account till now. So these are the issues.
Yeah, and David, I like the way you dimension these issues for us. And let me just make sure people understand the point that we're making. This is a debt trap. The idea is not to give you a loan. The idea is to make you dependent and to continually pay that loan over and over. Also, when I did my own research, David, this was exactly the same complaint I heard. People would pay back maybe after a week or two, and then they get a fresh credit in their account. And then it's always difficult. You can't speak to someone, there's no customer service. So you have to pay that new credit. If you don't pay the new credit, then you have a daily default charge that is double digit. So if you were on a holiday and you came back after 2 days and you were given new credit and you didn't pay back, you are already owing. If you try to call someone to say, hey, what's going on? You are owing again. The debt keeps on ballooning. You get to a point where you fall into a debt trap where you can never, ever pay the principal. You are simply servicing the interest. That's their target, guys. These are not loans. This is not a loan. This is a criminal operation to ensnare you into taking a loan that you can never pay off. And David, let's come to this partnership. I don't want to go to Phillips yet. Let's just come to the partnership with the banks. I found out that most of these loan apps are all the same people, right? I try to write their names down, UniCredit, 10 Money, it's all the same thing. It's owned by the same people, the same messages. But the thing that they cannot duplicate is in Nigerian banks that they are using. You've asked the question, the account in Zenith Bank is still open. Are the banks not aware that these folks are illegal? They are aware that cryptocurrencies should not open an account and they shut it down. Are they not aware? Is there a handshake going on? Is it just negligence, or is there a wink and a nod somewhere? Hey, just give us a deposit and we'll look the other way. What's your view on this?
I absolutely don't think it's negligence. Right? If there's one thing that Nigerian banks are not, contrary to popular opinion, it's negligent, right? Because where there's a large amount of money and power involved, people are not negligent about that. Nigerian banks are not negligent with their money. They can be criminal, but they are not negligent. No. I have heard that the reason, again, some of these things I wasn't able to include in the story is that I don't publish things which don't have written evidence, because it's a type of journalism I do makes it very difficult to put something out if I don't have something in writing to back it up. So I just rather not. But I've heard oral testimony from whistleblowers, from people who claim that, and I'm not going to mention the bank's names here, but that there are some banks that actually have revenue sharing agreements.
Oh my God!
Some of these operations, so they intentionally look the other way.
Really?
Right. Yeah. And I've heard this good, but the reason, again, I just imply journalist comes out and says anything, the person who is the entity that is implicated will simply say, oh, he's lying, it's fake news, he made it up.
Yeah.
That was so. Except there's something in writing to back it up. I can't. But the person I heard it from is somebody whose word I trust. And again, I'm not going to mention the bank's name. It's not Zenith Bank, by the way. But I'm not going to mention the bank's name. But it's a bank which I'm sure most people on this space will figure it out. When it's basically, let me just say, the bank that handles maybe 50 to 60% of what you know of as fintech in Nigeria. That bank.
That bank's name has come up everywhere. It's come up in my DMs. It's come up everywhere. That exact bank. It's come up everywhere. That bank, that they do this. It's fintech bank. They know what's going on. People have complained to that bank. I think everyone knows who the bank is. And I'm surprised that that bank still looks at this as a quote unquote line of revenue. The contingent liability that is awaiting this is, and the brand reputation risk that they are taking over making some money. It's mind blowing. David, on your article here, you have this Naira Plus. You did mention this app, Naira Plus. Just to give figures to what we're talking about, Naira Plus is charging on a 7-day loan 43.6%. The annual interest rate that Naira Plus is charging is 2,273%. How does anyone pay a loan of 2,273%? It's not possible. This shows you that the intent is to trap you in making perpetual payments. And if you say a Nigerian bank knows about this and is doing nothing, then I am in shock. But then what about the other regulators? We have the consumer credit folks. I don't know if SEC might not really have a stance here, but who else can we hold to account? We're coming to Philips, but who else can we hold to account apart from Nigerian banks that can shut this down? You talk about Google. You go into Google and the role that Google could play. Now, Google wants folks to display the APR, but still Google Play Store is allowing most of these apps to remain on the Google Play Store even when they have interest rates higher than 48%. Can you speak on this Google Play Store issue as well?
Right. So if you read their terms of service, or is it terms and conditions, it stated that in the US, any loan app or service which offers loans at anything above 36% APR, that's 36% annual interest, is not allowed. They simply don't and for US users. So the obvious inference of that is that they obey laws. They obey local laws based on the jurisdictions that they're in. That's what the inference is.
This is Google. This is Google.
Yeah. Yes. So even if the argument is that, okay, well, it's the US that has that law, and other places like Nigeria and Ghana don't have those laws, so that's how come it's a free for all. Well, even in Nigeria, in Lagos State, the money lending law of Lagos State, I believe 2019, states very clearly that no financial entity in Lagos is allowed to issue credits at interest rates is allowed to issue consumer credits at interest rate exceeding 48% APR. So why is Google not obeying the law of Lagos then? So it just, and I put this question to them, and all I got in response is like this, like automated response, respond within 48 hours, blah blah blah. There doesn't really seem to be an answer yet. But to my mind, it seems as if American laws are taken serious, EU laws are taken serious, maybe even some Asian laws are taken serious, because they mentioned the specific regulations for the Philippines, for India. When it comes to Africa, it's like whatever.
Oh man!
So we basically just get the short end of the stick, basically, because I was very forthright in the email I sent. Actually, I was very direct. But I don't understand how you can see very clearly that this is a loan shark. That there's no way on the planet where this is not going to be an illegal operation. This app is offering loans at more than 2,000% APR. Obviously, it's a loan shark. So why are you allowing it to be listed in the first place? Because then it gets listed, it stays on for a few months or even years, lives get ruined, whatever, people commit suicide, and then based on popular uproar, after the damage has already been done, then Google takes the app off the Play Store. By which time it doesn't matter anyway, because these guys are constantly developing new apps, because it's pretty much the same app anyway.
Same app.
Different brand.
Correct.
I think the term they use for that is a white label app, right? So basically, it's like a cut and join thing.
Yeah. I mean, David, I'm
as soon as that one is coming. So
Yeah, I'm hearing a lawsuit somewhere. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just listening. I look at it and I see a class action lawsuit filed in the state of, say, California by Nigeria that have been ruined by this, and listing Google as a defendant. This I'm not, I don't know how these things work, but I'm looking at it, even if it's just to draw attention to what's going on. Like, it's very clear. It's very clear. If the US says 36%, Lagos says 48%, then why is Google Play Store allowing that app to an app charging almost 2,000% to still stay on the Google Play Store? I mean, it's why are they letting me go? It's because it's in Africa, like you said. So I see if someone wants to take it up, that would be excellent. Let them say, oh, it was an error, or oh, this is why we let it stay on. But let them answer to a higher party. David, let's come down to the operations of these loan sharks, right? One thing I did follow also when I did my own sort of like research was the way the defamatory messages, right? When I got the first one or two, I was like, this was an employee writing a letter because he was angry and was being abusive to the defaulter. Then you get lots of them, and then you slowly see that it's the same message, maybe tweaked a bit here. It's abusive, it's defamatory. In some instances, they are calling people child rapists. In some instances, they are calling people criminals. They are calling people terrorists. This is what the corporate is sending, and they'll put the corporate name. You are owing unique credit. You are owing 10 money. You are a child rapist. You are a HIV center escapee. No one should deal with you. And they're sending these messages to everyone on your contact. In your article, I saw that you were able to get that this was basically what the companies are told to do. The employees in those apps are essentially given this template. So you have a template, just select, put the folks' name there, and you broadcast. They have this template already set to go. So once you don't pay, they call you. And after you don't pay, they publish that out to all your contact. It goes to the internet. It's there forever, that you're a criminal, that you're a child rapist, that you're a terrorist, that you have HIV. David, what's going on?
So essentially, it's impossible to explain this without explaining how the Chinese, the originators of this thing, do it, right? So we actually have it relatively easy here. How it's done back home, where they come from in Hong Kong and in Southeast Asia, is that they combine both online and offline elements to this bullying. So, and I'll give you an example of this. So, say you're a young woman, for example, and you're taking out a loan. In Nigeria, what they do is you give them access to, when you tap on accept or whatever, you give them access to your phone contacts, probably, or they can look at your social media, that kind of thing. So they can basically embarrass you in front of your social and family groups. In Asia, what they do is, for example, this is just one example, French horrible tactics they use. Your precondition for getting the loan as a young woman may be to make a video of yourself nude.
What?
Right? With
what?
You're holding up a card of with your name on it and whatnot, your name and date of birth and whatnot, and you're completely nude. And this isn't like hearsay. I've seen such videos, right? I saw one this afternoon, right? I can send you a couple of links afterwards if you're interested.
Oh my God.
The precondition is record a video of yourself nude, right? And then the loan shark, holds that video as collateral. So that in the event that you do not pay that loan, then they do the same thing they do here, which is they broadcast this thing. But only instead of simply broadcasting a defamatory message, they broadcast something which is much, much worse. So these are the kind of people that we're dealing with, right?
It's terrorism, David. It's terrorism. That's the word. It's terror. So it's terrorism. It's not having to do with criminality. It's terrorism. To publish a young lady's nude pictures because she took a loan.
Yeah, and this is not a one-off thing. This happens regularly. It's still happening, right? So this is the culture of the quote-unquote private lending that they come from in Hong Kong and Southeast Asia. So in Nigeria, obviously, they don't have that kind of power there. You can't really, like, even they don't really have that kind of reach. So all they can do is just try and embarrass you. But they'll try and do that to the fullest extent possible. Another funny thing I found out while interacting with people who have worked in Sokolo and companies like that before is that the Chinese people who manage these platforms, because the Chinese actually own the platforms, they're in charge of everything, basically. It's their money, it's their platform, it's everything. But they don't actually, for the most part, they don't actually even come to Nigeria or Ghana, wherever. They're not physically located there. They don't interact with the collectors, the call center agents, the collectors, as they call them. They don't interact with them. They only interact with this, corporate entity, which I guess we're coming to later on in this conversation. And it's that corporate entity that then interacts with the collector. So you can get a job at Sokolo and work there for 2 years and you will never meet Kevin Teng.
Yeah.
Because he has probably never even been to Nigeria before. So that's how it works. But based on his recommendation, based on his instructions rather, he instructs the corporate entity. The corporate entity then instructs the staff that this is how you do this thing. This is how you chase debts. This is so. The staff are then given sort of creative license, if I'm to call it that, to come up with terrible things, to like think of terrible ways of blackmailing people into paying up. Right, so which is why you see that, as you mentioned, you see people saying stuff like this guy's a child rapist, or they're just essentially literally trying to
embarrass you.
I'm looking for it, but it's just that's the term I'm looking for. They're trying to psychologically torture you into doing whatever it is that they want to do, which is obviously to pay up, right?
Yeah.
And as this goes on, what tends to happen is after like this sort of tactic has been successful 3, 4, 5 times to you, because like they will send you that message first before they send it to other people. So after you became 3, 4, 5 times, maybe you even borrow money, like because some other people, as I came to find out, end up borrowing money from other apps to pay off loans from this app because they're so terrified.
Yeah, correct.
That's what's going to happen. So you end up running like a personal Ponzi scheme of loans. You're taking out loans from here to pay off balances from there, and then you take out another loan from there to pay off that one. So like every month you're just playing this huge financial game and trying to stop your life from falling apart, because the minute one of those horrible messages goes out to your friend or family group, then you lose everything. And by the way, I actually know people that this has happened to. It's very interesting that we often think of this thing as something that happens to people who are just broke or something, or poor people. That's not true, right? Because there are people that I know, people in my circle, that this has happened to. Like anybody can be hard up at any given point in time. Like things happen, right? If you're somebody who normally has 7 or 8 figures in the bank, something can happen one day, and you just realize that you don't have. Right now, you need 50K.
Yeah.
And you just don't have it. It happens.
Yeah.
Right? And you think, this isn't a big deal. I'll just borrow this thing. It's 50K, pay back 65,000. What's the big deal? Just do it. And then something goes wrong. And before you know it, you couldn't pay it back. And then before you know it, you're just spiraling. And that 65,000 will come 500,000 in, the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And then you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And David, one thing that really shocked me really was that you say they have my information, your information, everyone's information that applies for a loan, right? I'm looking at what you put on your article here. And the article, of course, is Suicide, Fraud, and Phillips Consulting, your latest article on loan sharking. And I'm seeing you have screenshots here of folks' names, phone numbers, BVN. They have BVN. They have BVN phone numbers. They have family members' relations. This is what they have. This is just like you said, it's in plain text. So when you apply for the loan, they have this information from you. I mean, I know where this information is going to go. It's going to be sold on the dark net, clearly. But that they have this information, this is what really troubles me. How do they have BVN? And you said they have the NIPS and they have all that. How do they get this? How?
I mean, in this case, in many of these cases, you will actually be the one to submit it yourself when you're filling in the application. There's usually a space for BVN. Right. So, which is what gives a lot of people the mistaken idea that they have access. They have, that they are sort of banking entities, that they have access to Nigeria's banking database. No, they don't. But they ask for your BVN, partly to give you the impression that they actually are, that they can, they threaten that they can block your BVN because you didn't pay, which is total rubbish. They don't have any such power. But also, as you said, so that they can sell this information on the dark web. There are people who will pay money to be able to steal another person's identity, and what better way to steal someone's identity than by starting with their financial information
that you supplied, that which is real.
Yes. When I was drafting this story, like I actually paused for a minute when I realized what I was really looking at, because I remember the first draft, that those two screenshots of the data samples of consumers with their BVNs and whatnot. The first draft I did the story, I didn't even really look at it that much. It was when I was looking through the second draft, I was like, wait, am I seeing somebody's 16-digit? This is someone's card expiry date here, someone's BVN, someone's next of kin details. So like this is someone's this is information that you can basically use to steal a human being's identity.
Correct.
Right. This is what I'm looking at here, and if it is, then am I actually possibly even committing a crime by even just having this? Because how on earth is this even in public circulation at all? Like how is it? Because the whistleblower who passed across this information to me is not a banker, he's not a regulated person in any way. So it was just a call center, just a random person off the street. Got a job.
He has people's BVNs. Oh my God.
Basically ruin somebody's life, right? And this information is still on their back end. It's still there, and anyone who has the login to their back end can still have access to this information. So when you now see these stories about how somebody's accounts got cleaned out or whatnot, it now raises the question: like some of these people who have worked in these places before, what have they done with this information? Who have they sold it to?
And these are low-paying jobs, David. I mean, you put up the request for employment. These are low-paying jobs. So I could work here for 2 weeks, get all these BVNs and leave, and I have them. Download on my flash drive and go. Then go sell it to bandits or Boko Haram. Then Boko Haram has your name and has your BVN. Then Boko Haram can receive ransoms into those accounts. It's crazy.
That's exactly where I was going with this. That's exactly where I was going. So basically, innocent people have their lives completely ruined, right? It's because people basically use their details for all sorts of things, for money laundering, for terrorism financing.
Yeah.
And then one day you just go to the ATM to withdraw money, and like it won't disperse. You walk into the bank, what's happening? And then the police officer walks up and they're like, yeah, you have to come with us. And then before you know it, you find yourself at Balagbo. They are being questioned. The account was used to move, and so on and so on. So and things like this do happen.
You can't blame the police. The police, someone was kidnapped, a ransom was paid to your account, they issued the BVN, it has your name, they have all your information, your family, friends, you passed date of birth and all that. You can't blame the police. And you're going to have to explain how your BVN got to Boko Haram or a bandit's hand. But I got that BVN by simply working in this crap place for like maybe 2 weeks, download everything off. And banks, Nigerian commercial banks that have social corporate responsibility, that boast about all this stuff, are allowing entities like this to operate accounts, to make deposits, to make withdrawals with the same BVN the bank captured with biometrics under the central bank rules. This is what Nigerian banks are doing. I mean, we're seeing an inference here. And that bank that we're talking about that is not yet named, that is in the Southwest, that everyone knows is the quote-unquote fintech bank, their names are all over my DM. I mean, can't you guys see what's going to happen? That someone's going to sue you and they're going to get all this information, and you have a contributory negligence suit hanging over your head. Can't you guys see it? Do we have to spell it out for you? David, this is a sad part. I just want you to just talk to us. This is a story that really the sad part of this whole story was someone committing suicide. Just what happened, David? You look like you know the guy personally and all that. Just what happened? Can you just walk us through if you don't mind?
Okay, so well, if you're referring to the person who actually committed suicide and not the suicide attempt, then that was a friend of my whistleblower. So apparently this guy had some medical emergency and ended up in hospital, and he basically didn't have the money, and he took out a loan to sort out his hospital bills, hoping that when he comes out of hospital, he will hustle, he'll be, how you convince yourself when you take out these kinds of loans that you find a way. And then of course you don't find a way because money is not that easy to come across. And they just like wouldn't let up on this guy. Just kept sending these messages over, and he was already in a frail physical state. He wasn't out of the woods yet health-wise. Everything was just a game. And eventually he just kind of gave up, and he took a plus fiber and killed himself.
I mean, you're fragile, you're out of hospital, you cannot work, and then you get a message saying that you're a criminal, that you're this, that you're that. It tips you over. It tips you over. We've had successful lawsuits at less contributory parts of this than what's going on. It touches me that this is happening. And it's the same on my DM. There was a lady there that was in the hospital, and they were sending her the messages, and she was begging and all that. They weren't listening to her, I don't look at it as a criminal or an economic. I look at it as terrorism, the same way I would look at ISIS or Boko Haram. Because what's the difference between what these guys are doing and what ISIS does? Terror. You put your guys in jumpsuits and you cut their necks on TV, or you send a tweet to a guy saying that you are HIV positive, and maybe the guy works in the school or works in a bank. How does he explain to little kids, maybe he's coaching, that he's not HIV positive, it's just a guy he borrowed money from that he didn't pay back? Guys that are owing don't get messages saying that they're HIV or they are child rapist. I saw a picture where they put juju, the pot with the red pot and all that in someone's house. Really? David, let's come to Phillips Consulting. I wanted to just lay the ground before I got to Phillips Consulting. If you notice, you've talked about the trials, the Chinese folks and all that. And you've also said that the Chinese folks don't come to Nigeria. So there has to be an operational, should we say the base, how things get done. In your article, and the article again is, suicide, fraud, and Phillips Consulting. I've just shared it also on the tweet feed today. So you've got to read it to sort of follow. David just giving us the fact behind the figures on this. So David, let's talk about Phillips Consulting. When I saw this, I thought maybe someone just used Phillips Consulting as a pass off, so it looks, real. But essentially, what you're saying is that Phillips Consulting is the management, the operational side of this particular one that you're speaking of, the Soko lending. And you actually have a letter from Phillips Consulting asking the guy that left, more or less, to pay money back to Phillips. You actually put it in there. But David, just lay it out for us and let's just catch up. What's going on? I think David is off. So let me hold the fort for him before he comes. I think only David, okay, I'm going to just add you back as a speaker. Give me a sec, guys. David was off. So I'm just going to add him back. There we go. So David, he's just connecting, guys. I want David to just walk us through this. This troubles me. I mean, the banks, we've seen the role of the banks, even though a bank received a deposit, meaning that these accounts that have been closed by the regulator. The online app was closed by the regulator, but the banking side was still open. David has shown us that happened, right? That the banking side of these loan sharks was still open. But I want David to walk us through this Phillips Consulting angle, how they got involved and really their role. David, I see you're back. If you can unmute, just take us through it. I want you to walk us through it a bit slowly. Let's just understand what's going on and then see how we can learn from this. David, go ahead. You're still muted, so let me just make sure you can speak. Yep, you can speak, David. Give us a sec, guys. I think David's just back on. David, if you can unmute and then speak, or I can go ahead and then once you can just interrupt me, that'll be fine. For what David is saying, right? If I understand what he's saying, Philips Consulting, guys, if you don't know, they're this large, they're a consulting firm and they operate Philips Outsourcing. So Philips Outsourcing is a subsidiary of Philips Consulting. And Philips Outsourcing sort of runs the back end, the HR, the hiring, the operations side, right, of SOCO loans. That's what's in the article. And essentially what's happened here is that David has put up some screenshots of how this whistleblower, David asked him for proof to show that what he was saying, that Philips Consulting, right, or Philips Outsourcing was working with SOCO. The gentleman said, okay, when he was leaving the company SOCO, he made someone pay money to his personal account. Just so you understand, he made someone pay a loan that was due to SOCO to his personal account. When that happened, he got a letter from someone in Philips Outsourcing, and David has the letter there, and her name is there, and all that. Oreoluwa Olajide, employee service manager, is right there. Philips Consulting, or Philips Outsourcing, essentially asking them to pay the money back to Philips Outsourcing. And there's an account number right there. It's a GTB account number. It's Philips Outsourcing Nigeria Limited. The account number is right there. And the guy paid the money back. So understand what's going on. SOCO, someone that borrowed money from SOCO, paid money to his personal account, which is the whistleblower's personal account. Then Philips Outsourcing wrote to him and said, hey, you did this. We want you to put the money back in our account. And he put the money back in Philips Outsourcing account, not in SOCO. So essentially, Philips Outsourcing is receiving these funds that were paid to SOCO into their own corporate account. The screenshot is right down the article, guys. So David, if you can come off mute, I really want you to give us the behind the scenes on this, because this is the one that really gets to me. I mean, everyone in the corporate sector in Nigeria knows Philips Consulting. I'm shocked to see them associated in any way with this. And again, if you're in Philips, I'm just reading off the article, and David has provided this this information here. So David says he wrote to you folks, and he has gotten no response back from Philips Outsourcing. His letter is right there. And David was also able to make a payment to that account, and the account went through. So yeah, David is having some issues to try to come back. I will, once he's back, I'm sure he can walk us through this. So we've been having a talk with David. We've been here for close to 45 minutes about his new article, Suicide, Fraud, and Philips Consulting. It's, as usual, it's a David, it's what David does. He says it, then he shows you where he got what he's saying. So there's no he said, she said. It's very, very well researched, very, very well documented, and he basically sends that out to you, and you can read and you can reach your own conclusions. This is troubling, right? And I don't know, guys. Before David is here, let me just make this point to folks. My focus is on the personal finance side of all this, right? And I know that many people are going through issues in Nigeria. Your wages have. Oh, David, you're back in. Yeah. So, David, where the Philips Consulting part, I tried to lay sort of like a framework of what you wrote in the article, just in case people hadn't read it. But now that you're here, David, could you walk us through what's going on with Philips Outsourcing? Just walk us through, David.
Right. So essentially, you have a very well-respected Nigerian HR and business management consultancy, which, for whatever reason, is acting as the operational support and the operational backbone of SOCO Lending Company in Nigeria. At least in Nigeria, I wasn't able to confirm if they're also responsible for the operation that is being set up in Ghana. But the operation in Nigeria is 100% aided, abetted, and supported by Philips Consulting. So Philips Consulting offers HR services. So they recruit the people who become the collectors, those call center agents who send those horrible messages. They're all recruited by Philips Consulting.
Yeah.
They train them. They offer training to these people. They offer payroll services. They offer so in some instances, like if you read the article where the guy who made a customer pay money into his own personal account instead of this local lending company's account, and then the lady from Philips outsourcing then got in contact with him and said he has to refund that money. If that money was to be refunded to the Philips outsourcing bank account, that was basically a loan shark's revenue that was to be refunded to the Philips outsourcing bank account, which shows that there's a, in addition to rendering business support and HR services, there's also they also have a level of involvement in the very core activities of this illegal payday lender, right? And something else that I found very interesting was that the lady, I believe her name was Chinenye Okoli, she was mentioned in the article. The screenshot of her LinkedIn page was also included in the article.
Yep.
If you check that screenshot, it says she's head of credit.
Yeah.
At Philips Consulting. Now, as far as I know,
Philips outsourcing.
Philips outsourcing, rather, right? As far as I know, it's not a bank, and they don't have any kind of license to perform any regulated financial activity. So, what does that job title mean? The head of credit at a company that doesn't do credit, supposedly. And then, very interestingly, almost as soon as the article came out, she deleted her LinkedIn profile.
But we have it.
So in addition to what is in the article, I'm sure that there's other stuff going on under the hood. There's this really unholy relationship between Philips Consulting and so-called lending company that even we are not aware of. In addition to the illegality that Philips Consulting is already provenly involved in, I'm sure they are doing something that is a whole other level of illegal. And I found it very funny that almost even before the story was published, when I just published the video snippet, I got a message on LinkedIn from an account claiming to be the MD CEO of Philips Consulting, saying that he wants to speak to me urgently. Well, I had already sent the request for comment since weekend, and I didn't get any response. I didn't understand why it's the morning the story is being published, all of a sudden you want to talk to me. So, I kind of aired it, but, we'll see what you have to say later on.
Yeah, so David, Philips outsourcing. I mean, if it had stopped at Philips outsourcing was recruiting for the apps, right? I would have said, well, bad optics, I would have said bad optics. Maybe you guys should choose your clients better. What troubles me is that exchange where they are asking the gentleman that has left Soko, right, to pay back. And that gentleman then pays into the accounts of Philips outsourcing. That is what really, should I say, troubles me, that they are receiving, they did not know. Again, was this negligence? Was it that they were not aware of the implication of receiving monies into your corporate account? I mean, I tell people all the time, I tell private people all the time, if you have a corporate account, do not accept any payment. You do not know where it's from or who it's from. Don't say, oh, my friend wants to collect his check for his rent. Let me pay to my corporate account. Don't do it. But these guys are receiving. This is like you said, well-respected Nigerian company, Philips Outsourcing, receiving deposits from an individual that was returning stolen, in quote, funds, was going back to the GT account of Philips Outsourcing. You don't do this. You just don't do this. So I am willing to hold out my hand and say, maybe if, like David has said, he wrote to them, they didn't come back to him. Perhaps they will come back with an explanation, but this does not look good, guys, in any way. And I know Philips Consulting, I know Philips Outsourcing, this does not look good. How this is playing out, and let me just tell you from my own view, what I'm just looking at this, right? You have major banks in Nigeria involved in this one way or the other. If someone was trying to be conspiratorial, right? Someone could say the banks, someone could say the regulators, even the outsourcing firms are all working with the Chinese to induce Nigerians to enter into a debt trap. And someone could make that case and back it up with all this information David has posted. Guys, it does not look good. I'm being very polite, but this cannot stand. I want to bring this FCCPC. I know the handle is listening. If you want to speak, I've sent you a request. I will gladly allow you to speak. I just have a few questions. What are we doing about this? I did follow your MD talk about how they had shut down most of these apps on the Google Play Store and what they were doing. I commend you. If you want to come on air and speak, because you're here right now, I will let you speak. I've sent you an invite. You can send me a DM. Just let me know you want to speak and I'll bring you in. We want to solve the problem. We don't want to apportion blame. David is the journalist. He has presented the facts. It's now left for the FCCPC and others to then go out and basically shut this down. This has to be shut down. This is not a loan operation. This is not fintech. This is not you need a loan, you go to some folks. These are criminals taking your personal information and selling. These are criminals that are making sure you go into a debt trap that you can never come out of. The intent is to tease you with a loan. And once you get into that program, they have your information. They will keep on creating your account to loans that you cannot pay. Don't look at this like a failed bank. Oh, the bank is charging high interest rates. This is a criminal operation. David has provided the facts. It's left for action to be taken. That's why I'm bringing them up here so we can all listen and take action. So please, if you want to speak, consumer protection, but just send me a DM or I've sent you an invite. We will put you on to basically talk a bit about this. David, so are they going to come back to you? That is Phillips Consulting. They're going to come back to you and maybe you do what's going to happen?
To be honest, I have no idea because this usually happens when I do a story. That the weight of evidence is just so there isn't really anything to deny. So I don't know how anyone intends to spin it or anything. So I guess it's just to wait and see what they have to say. To be honest,
Gotcha.
It's only just that one person, the supposed MD, who has reached out. Every other person I reached out to for comments, more than 20 of them. Some of them have been blocked. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, it's sad because, like, again, this is like, oh my God. Okay, if you want to speak, I think last time, David, the very, very last thing you did, and I think you put it there, and I'm a bit shocked. Soko Loan is back operating in Nigeria. Their address is at the Reels Plaza, Junai Dosumu Street, Central Business District in Alausa. So essentially, you are saying, after all the noise, after everything that we're hearing, these guys are back in operation. They are back. You put the building there. That's where they are. They're operating right there. If anyone wants to shut them down, they can go to Reels Plaza right now, and they can actually shut them down. I guess that's what you're saying. And again, you're also saying that these guys are like, hello?
You can on paper you can shut them down, but I guarantee in another 2 weeks they'll find another location and they'll just continue from with it. This is what they do. They're like cockroaches. Like, this is how they operate. So when the FCCPC raided them in March, there were actually two office locations they had in Okwebi. There was only one that FCCPC was aware of. When that one got raided, they just told all their staff to work from home for a while, and then now everyone is back to the office. They have a new office space, which I put in the article. It's business as usual. Everything's back to normal. So even if you raid this new place, they're just going to find another. Like, this is what they do. They're an illegal entity, right? And they do what illegal entities do, right? So this is not like a corporate operation that they have to do risk management or anything. Like, no, these are just criminals.
Yeah, but how hard is it? I mean, you've laid, David, you've given us the expo already. You've said shut them down from Google Play Store. That's the big expo. If they're out of that, then you take away their visibility. You do that, then you then go and you say, okay, these companies, you list them out. Just same way sectors. You say this, CBN doesn't have that kind of database where you can say, are these guys licensed? I think the central bank or the FCCPC needs to create its own database. So if I want to go get a loan, I could go to that database and type in that name and see if these guys are regulated by the CBN or by the SEC. FCCPC should do that. So that way you know who is a real or who is a licensed loan operator. I mean, if you just do these two simple things, right, you stop a lot of folks going in to get this loan. Because people ask me, are these guys real? Are these guys unreal? I went to the CBN website, and on the CBN website, you have this big database where you have to search by alphabetical order. It's not friendly. It's not friendly at all. They should, SEC is not that, have a database and people can type in and you can see if these guys are licensed, and they should start to ask all the guys that give credit, say we are licensed by the central bank. The same way SEC will say SEC approved or CI, they should make the banks and anyone that is licensed to issue credit in Nigeria, put it there. So that way, if I look at a SOCO loan and they say we are licensed, they probably come to an offense because they are not licensed. So if they don't put it there, I know they are not licensed. This is not rocket science. These are just simple things we can do like yesterday, right? And we can save a lot of life. People are dying, guys. This is suicide, right? The embarrassment. I had tweeted I wanted to take this loan and not pay back just so that I could sue them. I was unaware that this is triads and all that, and BVN. For the record, guys, for the record, nobody can shut down your BVN or your credit or stop you from taking a loan. They are all lying to you. They don't have that power. Nobody that is not licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria or otherwise can shut down your credit score or BVN. It's all a lie. But that said, there has got to be personal responsibility on your part. Everyone has problems, but you just can't go take a loan that is 4% a day. Come on, have 4% a day, guys. Do the maths. You have to really look at these things carefully. I get it. Nigerian banks don't give loans. I get it. But you can't go into this, guys. You can't. It's illegality. This is not a cheaper loan. This is not a faster loan. This is illegality. Stop patronizing them. Report them. If you take a loan from them, report them so that folks stop doing this. I think, please, FCCPC, get a database, write to Google Play Store, list all these apps. David has, I can give you more. There are lots on my DM. Take them off Google Play Store. Let's, FCCPC, put your database up. Then educate folks about this. More education helps so folks don't fall into this debt trap. I can't imagine if you say girls should take nude pictures before they get a loan, and you say that's not toxic or harassment or terrorism. I don't know, guys. I don't know. David, I mean, we've gone through the article. There are a few pairs I want to just maybe drill down and just maybe get your sense on what's going on. So the Chinese folks, is there anything we can do if we write to say to the embassy of China? Could we collaborate? I'm just talking like broad views now. Is there something that we could do with the foreign ministry or with the Central Bank of Nigeria to say these guys are doing this? Could you help us out with this? Maybe perhaps report them back to their home countries. Is that a possibility? Do you think that would work?
The thing is, the Chinese guys in charge of this operation, to be honest, like the name I was given, for example, the CEO, Kevin Teng, there's no guarantee that that's even his real name.
I don't think that's a real person.
So, and then the other Chinese entities which were, like, for example, the guy called Wang Lu, who is apparently registered on the company CAC documents as a director, I also think that's a fictitious person. So they're basically chasing ghosts.
Yeah.
So I don't think even the Chinese authorities even necessarily know who these people are. So that's kind of where the problem is. I think it's a problem that can only be dealt with either from Google or from the Nigerian side.
Yeah. Okay.
The banks, especially. So in fact, not just the CBN, also the CAC, right? I don't really understand how it's possible for the CAC to register a business, right? And issue petitions.
I mean, you can go to CAC and register anything. We
what it is there. Yeah, but people talk about CAC registration as though it's evidence of some sort
it's
of
nothing.
credibility.
It's nothing.
It's not.
But people don't know this, David. People don't know this. I mean, I do Ponzi's. I do this Ponzi education. People will tell me they have CS registration. I say, it doesn't mean anything. Oh, they're registered with the EFCC. It doesn't mean anything. I tell who those things don't mean anything. It's SEC. But you can say things in a way that people believe that if I'm registered or I have SEC, whatever license, that means I'm registered. You can say all that stuff. Literally, I hear you say Lagos State gives approval. In the end, only the central bank can authorize anyone to issue credit. I believe Lagos State authorizes cooperatives and all that, but to keep it really, really tight, if you just stick to the fact that CBN has that mandate, it actually helps. David, there's a question here. I'm answering the person, but I'm using that question in a way to just make you repeat yourself. The person is asking, this is from Fresh. Is it Philips Consulting or Philips Outsourcing? Two different entities. Your article says Philips Outsourcing. I'm responding with a snip of your article back to the person. I just want you to repeat it. And I'm going to go back to DMs now and read them. I don't know why. David, if you see anyone trying to speak or a co-host, please add them. On my end, I see no one trying to speak. But I'm just going to make sure that I make you answer that question again, if you don't mind.
So Philips Outsourcing is a subsidiary of Philips Consulting.
Okay.
So that's pretty much.
Yeah.
So I use the two terms in the article interchangeably because it's pretty much the same management team.
Yes, and I've sent you that snapshot. You see Philips Outsourcing. Philips Outsourcing does outsourcing, and they are owned by Philips Consulting. So yeah, that's essentially what he's trying to say. Could you just ask your question? Yeah, David, some folks are listing all these apps: New Credit, Xcast, others. That's true. There are lots of them. The best thing you can do on Twitter, guys, is to name and shame these folks. Name and shame them. Post it up and say, don't name and shame them with proof. Like do something and name and shame them. So guys, don't really get into this this issue, please. That's one thing you can do. Let me just go through my DM, David, if you don't mind. If you have 2 cents to add, Tony, just request and I will add you on. The names I keep on seeing: 10 Money, UniCredit, Xcash. There is one I'm not sure, Migo. I don't know what Migo is, but I see it all the time. Complaints about them. Jesus, this is a tough one. All right. So just going through DMs. Yeah, just come in and ask, and I can ask a question. David has done a good job, but it goes deeper as far as impersonating the CBN, and I have proof. If you have proof, send to David. Send to David, and he will, he can do that for you. Yeah. So David, send him a DM and say you have this proof. Send it to him, and he can do that for you. Yeah. Oh yeah. David, someone sent me a whole list of apps, and it says it's owned by one company. It says it's called your Soca loan. There's Fair Money, Palm Credit, Branch, Umbra, L Credit, Easy Money, Quick Money, Xcash. It's all owned by one, just one. Ibadan, please unmute and then go ahead and speak. Ibadan, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Have you read David's article?
Yes. I was really, how can I say it? I was really glad reading the article because it's what I'm going through presently.
What happened?
Yeah, I was in debt with most of them previously, but I settled almost all of them except like maybe 2 because they explained me before my due dates.
Yeah.
I'm not going to requesting that payment now.
Yeah.
So, but one, I've already paid me back. My phone was spoiled. I just got a new device 2 years ago. I installed my Union Bank app. I just checked that and I saw credits. And I have put the writings on one of those that be back. How? If my phone got spoiled, I uninstalled the app. I'm also even another thing. So how then did I apply? I'm sure when their deadline just give me.
Let me ask. So you say you didn't apply, but you got money.
I don't even have the app.
You don't have the app. You didn't apply. You just got the money.
Yes, I paid back. I uninstalled them. I just saw my statement on your back app and I saw the credit. Like how?
Interesting.
And I'm coming when it's due dates, they'll start messaging me and calling me.
I'm waiting for them to call because I called them, they're not picking. I sent a mail, they didn't reply.
I think maybe you should, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I think you should go speak to a lawyer. Just go say, hey, I didn't apply for this, I got this, what should I do? Make sure you do exactly what they tell you, because they could come tomorrow and say, just make your case now. And preemptively write to them and say, I've gone to my lawyer, I've done this, I've done it. Just do it, because I'm not going to take anything for granted nowadays. So just try to go and do that, right? And just speak to a lawyer and say, hey, I didn't apply, I got this. What should I do? Whatever they tell you to do, go do it, protect yourself, get your paper trail going. That's just what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Olumide, what's up? Thank you, Baden. I appreciate you. Olumide, we've been having a sober discussion with David. Again, he's great article out there. What's your take on this?
Yeah, spot on, Carlo. Nice one for hosting the space. And I can't say less, but David did a very beautiful job. I read the article and it just affirmed all the concerns that many of us in the space we really realize. Just following Carlo, you've always mentioned the systemic dangers loan sharks play to many young Nigerians. It baffles me, but I think the major problem, David, I think where we should look at is our enforcement agencies. You see, the fact that there was a recent report, I was trying to bring it up on social media, where a regulator was being mentioned that these entities have some form of irregularity, and what they were saying was that, well, there was no law that was against the fact that you can't lend formally to individuals or entities. And I was just amused. To the public, I think, just like you rightly said, every single country usually have some form of regulation around these institutions, and for reasons, So one needs to keep on pushing it out. And I think that for me, I think it's just a start, because the fact that people's data is exposed also talks about the danger. We know what data can do when it goes to the wrong hand. We know how it can be abused, and also the fact that our banks are also kind of negligent. I think CBN needs to work on that. The compliance. So I think that part we can also work on that part. So, for example, this report, I'm trying to see how I can pass it to other traditional channels for regulators to review and see. Because the truth of the matter is that, just like David rightly said, the fact that they have some alignment with our traditional institutions and embarrassment to our entity, because the banks are regulated by the CBN, and the banks also are liable to this kind of thing, because they allow these things to thrive. And it's just a big shame.
It's crazy. There's a particular name I've been trying not to mention, but it's here. I get a lot of bad news about them, right? People are sending me a message that they're affiliated to a bank, they're a microfinance bank. I don't name a name that'll come back, but most of the very, very bad news around this microfinance or app. It starts with an M. Please, come on, guys. It's just bad news I hear about them. The MI folks, please, the bad news. And there is nothing like lending number, guys. There is nothing like lending number. There is no lending number. So if anyone tells you I have a lending number, there's nothing like in banking, please. So those guys are illegal. What you do, ask them for their license. Ask them. Don't assume. Say, what license do you have to issue this loan? They have no license. If they're on license, they cannot go to any credit bureau. They are lying to you. No credit bureau will listen to them. But so I'm saying both at the same time. They are illegal and unlicensed, but you have to be personally responsible. You can't deal with an armed robber and say the armed robber is illegal. No, you're an accessory to that crime. So you are a moral accessory to taking these high interest loans. That's how I'll put it. John, how you doing, sir? Please unmute. Tell us what's going on. John Olufemi, go ahead.
Hello. Thank you very much for this session.
Thank you. David is here. If you have a question, go for it.
Okay. I just want to add to what is going on, because I have a concern that this action should be taken on this, because I was aware some weeks back FCC PC raided the offices, but it was business as usual. Like it has been mentioned, they just find another way to go around and continue.
So I think, like you said, I think the banks have a lot to do because they use bank accounts and I know they use virtual accounts too. I don't know how they set up those things with the banks. And like has been said, one particular bank too, I think I've seen when I read the report today, about 2 banks were mentioned in particular. So something has to be done about that. And the Google Play Store thing. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, yeah. Then I think Google can do something about it. But beyond that, I don't know much about tech. And there's this APK thing. They also, even if you don't see them on Play Store, sometime they find a way. I think APK has to do with something Android that you can still get. Probably they send links to people to install the apps. Yes, though it's not appearing. It's not appearing on Play Store at a particular point, so they find ways around that.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing is that I think FCCPC is yet, but action needs to be taken and it has to be decided on the. And as we said, I think it has to do more about something from Nigeria, not even. Action has to be taken from here.
I agree with you. We have to work with FCCPC. We have to work with them. I want them to be our friend. I don't know why they're not speaking. I mean, I want to work with them. Any way you guys believe we can work with you. I think David is also here. We want to work with you, right? And we don't want to look at you and attack you and all that. If you have a way or if you want something done, please let David, everyone here say, this is how you want us to help. We will help because it's our friends, it's our family that's been destroyed. People are sending me texts. I don't know if I should read all. Say Soko Loan used to operate with the bank, the W Bank, right? Now they operate with the U Bank. I don't want to call the name of the bank, but why is a bank? And this is a special point, right? Why are Nigerian banks allowing loan sharks to operate accounts with them? Nigerian banks do not, and I'm quoting that word, do not issue consumer credit. The data is out there. Less than 5% of Nigerians have gotten a loan of any kind from a commercial bank. And I'm quoting the Enhancing Financial Inclusion data in Nigeria. If you are not issuing loans to Nigerians as a bank, please, why are you allowing loan sharks to hold accounts in your bank? It's immoral. It is wrong. It says a lot about you, more than your balance sheet will say. If people die because they took a loan from a loan shark and you are making profits, how do you sleep at night, for crying out loud? You know these things. I mean, we are all Nigerians. We have the DMs. Tell your staff they will remove every loan shark from your bank. It can be done yesterday. It's not rocket science. Take them off. Give yourself that badge and say, in this bank, we have no loan shark. How much are you making from them? How much? Is it worth your reputation? Is it worth you being stained that you are engaging in a loan shark? The lady deleting her LinkedIn profile that David has exposed. Was it worth it? That your name is all out there now? Was it worth it? Come on, people. Come on. David, do you want to have any comments? I mean, folks have asked the question. Olumide, if you see anyone trying to speak, I made you a co-host. Please add if you can, please. David, I don't know if you had anything to say or to add to what we've talked about. I'm just trying to have an open house here. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a bit emotional.
It really does boil down to the banks, in my opinion, and it boils down to something that a friend told me. This guy comes from consulting. He used to work at PwC, so and what he always used to tell me is that in Nigeria, the tail wags the dog. The banks have too much influence over the CBN.
Yeah,
and I know that sounds counterintuitive because it's, we see the CBN taking like these actions that look very unilateral, and it looks as if like MFA is a dictator. It comes across like that sometimes, but apparently the reality of the matter is that behind all the theatrics, it's Nigerian banks that are determining how they want to be regulated. So the regulated are more powerful than the regulator, and that's the problem. That's a problem, right? I am somebody who believes I'm not shy to say this. I believe very much in having as small a government as possible, right? I'm not a fan of having a huge state overreach, that sort of thing. I'm not a fan of it, right? I believe in private enterprise. Yes, very much. I'm a free market capitalist to the most reasonable extent possible, yes. But any sensible person also knows that there is no such thing as a completely free market. Right? The idea of a completely 100% free market is completely ludicrous. There must be regulators. Right? There's a reason that these institutions exist. And it seems as if we've got to the point now where Nigerian banks basically have ways to end run any kind of regulation. They can get past any kind of regulation, whether it's with regard to money laundering, whether it's the forex thing that everybody's always making noise about. And Nigerian banks have their ways around all of these things. So it starts to feel as if within the financial ecosystem there are two types of Nigerians, right? There are Nigerians who exist within the financial ecosystem, and then there's the rest of us. I don't really understand it. I don't get why that is being allowed to happen. Right? Nigerian banks are lost onto themselves. Right? You have different banks. What is supposed to be the case is that you have a central regulator which enforces a common set of standards across all banks. Right? So all 22 or is it 23? Commercial banks in Nigeria are supposed to have pretty much the same standards. But in one bank you get one thing, in another bank you get something completely different. I don't really understand how that works anymore. It seems as if the system is not fit for purpose, right? Because I don't understand how this particular bank is being any kind of. If you can think back over the past 6 to 7 months, pretty much every kind of significant story regarding theft or fraud or anything else.
It's always that bank. It's that bank. Always that bank.
They're always related. Nothing has been done to them, right? So meanwhile, you see the CBN taking these very visually spectacular actions when maybe someone on the board of First Bank sneezed the wrong way or something, and then they sack the whole board or sack the chairman or something like that. But then you have this bank which is actively doing criminal activity, and it's like, we can't see it. And I really don't get it. I'm not a banker, I'm just someone looking from the outside there, but I don't understand it.
I think when a bank allows itself, when a bank keeps doing this, then they open themselves up for for whistleblowing. Every bank I know in Nigeria has that cute template that will say ethics, whistleblowing. They all have it because they are quote unquote Harvard banks. They have to look nice, but in reality they don't. So I think when one bank gets sued in London, maybe they have a branch in London, they get sued in London and they list all this and then they are dragged before a court and they are asked to do discovery, perhaps this will change. But I don't think it's right. I don't think we should wait for a lawsuit for you to do the right thing. I don't think so. So I think it's the fastest way to end this is to stop them from having access to Nigerian banks. If you can't pay back the loans, then there'll be no loan sharks. But it looks like the banks have found a way to make a lot of revenues from quote unquote bad credit cases. So if you go to the bank, you don't qualify for credit, they send you over to these loan sharks. The loan sharks charge you $1 million a day. They pay, the bank gets their cut. The bank has no NPL, has no non-performing loans. It makes its revenues. It doesn't have any crap on the balance sheet. And all that is being outsourced to this mom and pop internet folks to do. This is Ponzi on its head. At least Ponzi's are a bit honest that they want to cheat you. But these guys are coming to you like, oh, we are just a bank. We want to help you. Do you have a loan? Are you feeling sick? Do you want to buy a car? Come to us. We'll help you. Don't mind those bad banks. But behind the scenes, there the banks are working. Guys, I have 31 requests to speak. I don't see them. I've added Olumide to help as a co-host. I'm so sorry. Twitter has done this to me. I don't see those requests. The ones I see, I've sent you guys to request to speak. I don't see them. Olumide, if you see anyone trying to speak, please add and then they can speak. So if you can just send me a DM. We love this.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Olumide.
Yeah. I just wanted to add up to interesting conversation. So I feel like we should not just. I think it's beyond the banks. I think it's on multiple bases. The news around it. If you look at the crypto market, Carlo, for example, in 2021, I was so surprised that the CBN find banks quietly. We got to know when we're looking at their statements. In fact, the Stanbic MD had to mention the fact that they were not even aware of the transaction that CBN had to really pass the message, and they requested for the technology. So one would have expected that if the CBN had such suspicion, why don't they go after these criminal entities? So I think partly it's part of the the fact that loan sharks have not gotten the headline the way the crypto market has, and also just like what you and David really highlighted, the fact that we are seeing the name of one particular bank really playing much. It beats our imagination at why the CBN is allowing such to create some form of pride Nigeria's financial institution. But I think with the way things are going, with the way the news is, and with this kind of article coming in play, I think their days are numbered. Because the truth be told is that one of the things I know about the CBN is that they don't like bad news. They don't like bad news, especially things like fraud, things that would really cause systemic dangers to the financial institution of the Nigerian system. They won't want to. So I think it's just a matter of time. But I think we need to keep pushing it out.
Yeah, we need to tell people what's going on. I think many people assumed that this is just expensive loans. It's not. It's criminality. And I think David has done a good work. I like how he tied in with the Chinese triads. What David didn't say is that these are mafia folks that cut your finger off or beat you up or break your legs if you don't pay. This is how it starts, guys. If you allow this loan shark or loan app folks to get a real stand, they get a lot of money. Next thing you know, they will go from sending you DMs to sending someone to your house. They have your address. They have your contact address. So someone will come to us and be like, hey, someone borrowed money down the road. He hasn't paid. So we're going to come to your house till he pays. That's where it's going to. We can't let it get to that stage. And this is the point. So David has done his job to write an article, to put names, faces, dates, times. So it's not hearsay. We are also doing our job to bring it to Twitter and then just say, hey, broadcast this out. Tell your friends, this is not an option. This is not an option. It's not like this is an option to the banks. Then we have to hold the banks responsible, because if the banks do their job, then everything stops. Google, banks do their job, everything stops. That's it. That's why we're holding the banks responsible. Who wants to speak? I have these guys here. Olumide, thanks for adding them. So if you can, let me see. Don't poke with me. If you are here, on mute and go ahead and speak, sir. Don't poke with me. I have Omar Gideon Mega. Go ahead, sir, if you can, if you want to speak. So there's a question here. Yeah, if you can just unmute and speak, sir, that's fine. Unmute and speak. I'm not seeing you, so if you unmute, you can speak. That's perfectly fine by me. I have a question. Legally, are the banks mentioned the articles culpable? I'm not a lawyer. I'm just talking about the moral imperative. If I owned the bank and I knew that Boko Haram had an account in my bank, would I keep that account open? That's the question. Let's assume Boko Haram was not even proscribed. Would I keep that account open? That's the question. If I owned a bank and a customer in my bank used my bank account to receive money to threaten people, and the person he threatened committed suicide, do I want to be associated with that client? If I'm a bank, do I want to be? This is the question. So there's legality and there's morality. We can't just take the legal side and be like, oh, they haven't been proscribed, hence we allow them to do what they want to do. Legally, morally, these are two very, very strong concepts. Casper the Ghost, I am Camille. Go ahead and speak, sir. You have the floor. Oh, Casper is going out. Fortune. Guys, sorry, it's Twitter. I'm trying my best here. Casper is connecting. Fortune, you can go ahead and speak, sir.
Yeah, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Have you read the article?
Yes, I have. You know, the whole article, you know, pointed to a whole lot of things that is now resonating to the daily experience of Nigerians, especially the poor ones.
Yeah.
Not just, especially just from the middle class to the poor ones. I remember one of my staff collected this loan. Yes, needed to sort out some things. Collected this loan. When they started harassing, they even called me. I called and said, okay, take this money, go and offset this thing. And he actually did. Do you know, from December last month, he came and they were calling him again that he's owing them over 200,000. This is someone that collected around 70 something. He's owing, and I was mad. I said, no, let me take up this thing. Let me understand. How did that happen? Let them. The fact is that they don't have address. Even the phone number they use in harassing people, when you try to call them back, the numbers are hardly connect, because all these Lagos numbers 01 something. If you try to call them back, it doesn't work. Where is their address? Or let's go and sort out these things. This money, or at least there's evidence in bank transaction. Or let's understand how this whole thing works. How can someone collect loan from you after repaying the loan and you still insist that he still has some balance to pay? How does that work? Please understand this. And the worst part is, you can't report this to CBN. Neither can you report it to police station. So my problem is, how do we solve these things? Or should we start by going, more lynchings? Should we start NSAS all over again?
Fortunately, let me tell you what I think I can do, or what you can do, right? They pay to an account number. They pay to a bank.
Yes.
I know there was a time I got into, someone was threatening someone and I got the bank account number. You have friends in the bank. You call the friend, who is this person? They'll tell you who the person is, where the ATM, they've used this, all that kind of stuff. We have to put someone we have to use someone as a case study. They pay to a bank, get information and embarrass the bank. That's what needs to happen, right? Why is the bank allowing this account to be open? David has put something up here. Do the same thing.
Yes, the Philip consulting. Yes, I'm equally getting to that. But yes, let me listen to you.
No, that's what I'm just saying. Get the bank. If you get the bank, if you get the bank number, you can know who has the bank, right? And on my DM, people are sending me the address of this particular location, but I can't say it on because I don't have proof of that, right? But I have the information. And I'm going to send it all to David. It's all here. These people are in this place. These people are in this place. So people know. The bank workers know. If I work in a bank, I know that this person is in this address, because you have to go to the bank with information to open the account. That's the point I'm making. So if you really want to get someone, you would get the person.
But we can't get it by ourselves. You need the authorities, you need law enforcement agencies to do this. But they themselves are not really ready to help. We know the Nigeria we're in. I can't go and call Monile or Dogs to go to their offices or the address that you get to go and be. You can't even harass the bank itself. So the point is, this has to come from the regulators. It has to come from CBN, because as an individual, we can't do much. Then back to yes, we used to have customers protection agency those days, or consumer protection agencies, but those agencies are so how will I put it? We don't hear about them anymore. It seems how they do now is just wait for government to pay them salaries. We don't hear about them. Those days, if something happened, you can call consumer or customer protection agency.
Yeah, let me give you their handle. Let me give you their handle, right? They are now called FCCPC. So at FCCPC, I'm going to post their handle here at FCCPC, right? And they've been trying. To be honest with you, they've been trying. I'm going to post a handle on the spaces so guys can follow. They've been trying. I think they also have the same problem we're talking about. They do not know where these people are. These people are on the metaverse. They're on the metaverse.
No, they are government agency. They cannot say they don't know where these people are.
True.
They are government agency. They cannot say that. Then back to Philip Consulting. You see, that company, when it comes one of the rots that happened to Nigerian industry. First of all, they started by casualizing workers in Nigerian banks, which means a staff that used to earn like 200,000, they came in, they lose, and according to them, they return and do blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they are now paying them 75,000 or 50,000, depending on certificate. They are one of the rots that happen in our society. Those days in Port Harcourt, you see that in oil company, then oil servicing company, people that used to earn something like 150, maybe school leavers that used to earn 150,000, at least when I graduated, they now came in quotes, they are retraining, they became a cartel that will go and get, collect the contract of providing staff and cut the salary into two, pay half and collect half. And they are still the one that is doing this thing. Philip Consulting, as far as I'm concerned, they are cartel. They are triads, even the same triad that David referred to them. They are mafias, as far as I'm concerned. In Nigerian banks, it's still the same thing. Casualization of staff. If you go to Nigerian banks now, their staff, direct staff is like 5%, the rest are casuals.
I hear you.
We really need to look into this.
I hear you. I hear you. And I mean, I'm like,
really need to look into this.
Fortune.
To start doing end stuff again.
Fortune, I think we're on the same side here, and I want us to stop this. I want us to really get to the bottom of this, like as a people. And I don't think it's difficult. I think people listening on this space, many people work in banks. Many folks here on this space work in a bank. It's your moral duty. If you know this loan apps, take a screenshot and share it. It's your moral duty. FCCPC is listening. Take a screenshot, take the pictures, take the address, who owns the account, and send it openly. The C7, screen it, share it, create a burner Twitter account, share it. Dave sent to David, sent to everyone. Let people know so that the authorities can go after them. We hear in America, this was leaked, that was leaked. For less things, people are dying of suicide, right? So if you have that power and you can share it to save a life, to save someone's reputation. People are listening. People are listening. So if you have that information, if you work in CAC, you know who these so-called people are, share the CAC, share the memoranda and the memo. Let's know who owns them. You work in the bank, they are paying, photocopy the name. Where's the money going to? It's going from here to here. Photocopy it and share it. Name and shame. So that this stops. We're not naming and shaming because we want to read information. So that this stops. That's what we're trying to do. This has to stop.
And for Nathan, you are right. I don't know who was giving the analysis. You'll see that now banks, they've stopped giving the loan, even the salary loans to people. They stopped doing that because, like I said, they stopped doing all those things. They are now outsourcing it to all these loan sharks. So that's why I believe too, bank is in this whole thing.
Well,
they are part of the whole. They are.
I hear you. But no, not cutting you. I'm just saying that outsourcing is very, very different. Outsourcing is a different thing that we can talk about. I mean, David, he's talking about outsourcing.
No, I mean they are now trying to. They don't want to be giving loans to SMEs anymore. They are now pushing them
to go to the
loan sharks.
I hear you.
Yes, not the outsourcing jobs. No, that one is different.
That is an allegation I'm making. I'm making that allegation openly so that we can. I'm making an allegation openly. The fact is that if an SME goes to your bank and does not qualify, then you send them to this high, APR charging loan shark. You want to ask yourself what kind of business strategy you are running. On a moral note, on a business note, is it worth it? Glencore just paid 1.1 billion because they were taking bribes. Almost all the banks in America after 2008 all paid huge fines back to the government because they were selling subprime mortgages and all that kind of stuff without doing it the right way. is it worth it? This thing is going to come back and bite people in the back, you know. So it's not worth it. That's what I'm saying. It's not worth it. We have the regulator is right here. They are listening. And I know they are only here because they want to listen and to effect change. They are here, and I appreciate them being here to listen. The banks also should take this up. If we can ban crypto, why are you letting loan apps run through the banks and make all this money? Like David is alluding to. Why are crypto banned, but loan sharks are not banned? What's the sense in that? I haven't heard anyone commit suicide because they lost money in Luna, but people are committing suicide because they take a loan with your BVN. That BVN is going all the way to China. We don't know where it's going to. So a guy walks in this loan shark. In one day, he gets all your information. He sells it. Then tomorrow, they use your account to receive stolen funds or bandits funds and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what's going on? Do you know if your own records as a contact has been compromised by a guy taking a loan? Maybe your house help or your driver takes a loan. They have your number. They have your address. That this guy lives in your address and he took a loan. Are you aware that your driver, or your maid, or your cook has a loan from a loan shark? What is the security implication of this? You work for, say, the military. Then someone in China knows that house has a loan there. What can he do to you? It's crazy. Roy Bia Baku, how you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Have you read the article?
Yes, but I have not read everything, to be honest. But the comments that have been passed and some of the contributions so far are in tune with what I have in mind. Just your last point regarding personal information and personal data, it's a huge one. Unfortunately, laws, regulations in Nigeria, as we all know, are loosely bound. I'm saying bound, but they are really not bound. And to be honest, even here in the UK, loan sharks operate. The good thing about the operations that they do is that they are also regulated. If anyone is not credit worthy and they go to high street banks and they cannot get a loan, the banks actually push them to loan sharks. But things are recoverable. If you lose any income, if you lose any revenue from going to the loan sharks, it's recoverable. Just like your deposit in the bank is recoverable up to a certain amount. Unfortunately, that's not the case in Nigeria. Just like we also said about the personal data, if your data is used in identity theft and somebody takes a loan in your name, here it is recoverable. The solicitors, the barristers, the legal path is there for you to make everything recoverable. Financially, the Financial Conduct Authority as well, that regulates the banks, also has a way of recovering your funds. Plus, within the circle of loan sharks as they are, it is recoverable there. The only thing that is different about them is their interest rate. And that, of course, we understand because it is a risk to give to someone who is not creditworthy. But what is the creditworthiness that we have in Nigeria? What's the credit score? The credit scoring criteria that they use in Nigeria? Nothing. So everything just loosely bound, like I said.
Roy, let me take you up on this. Let me just understand what you're saying. You're saying that say it again, this recoverable thing, you say it again. These guys don't have a license.
Okay.
They don't have a license. The loan sharks in the UK, do they have a license?
100%, of course. They cannot operate without a license.
The guys here don't have a license.
Yes, they have a license.
The guys here don't have a license. No, they don't have a license.
I understand. I'm going to make a point on that. I understand that. I'm saying sometimes the license they have here is simply registering as a company, but that, of course, is an offense. And that's why I also said in Nigeria, it is loosely bound. They don't have a license. I know personally people who have suffered from their operations. So I'm not in any way trying to defend them. I'm hinging this back to the fact that government, everything, look at the Data Protection Act that they instituted. It's not even an act. It was just, how can you give it to, it needs that to enact. It is the wrong institution to even be regulating data protection in the first place. So everything is just out of place. And I'm saying it is much deeper than just talking about the loan sharks. It goes up to the government itself. So everything is just in a mess.
I get your point.
That's my point.
I do appreciate that point. And one good thing with the article, again, we're talking about the article from West African Weekly, Suicide, Fraud, and Phillips Consulting, The Story of West Africa's Chinese Loan Shark Mafia. That's written by David. It was out 12 hours ago. If you don't have it, go get it. I mean, the thing about David is that he does his thankless job. You know, we read it, we say, sorry, but I think we stop there. You know, he's done his job to give us the information. We have to take it a step further, right? I'm not the protest guy. I think we can go through the system. I've done the moral argument. I've done the legal argument. I've even done the gra-gra argument. I've told the bankers to just take the information and share. All has got to be done. All has to be done. Roy has brought this very, very salient point. The regulator is here. Afterwards, then I'm going to take this audio sent to them, you know, and I've told the regulator, FCCPC. I've shared their handle, right? FCCPC. Folks, if you have all this news, right, send them a DM. I've shared their handle. Send them a DM. Ask them questions. If they want to work with us in any way, let us know, please. We will work with you. We don't want to do government is bad, government is horrible. I think they are also Nigerians. They also have people that are also suffering, and I believe they want to work. They've been here for close to 2 hours, just listening, and I appreciate that. Okay, they're listening, and we want to stop this. I don't want these guys to get too powerful, that you write a story about the Chinese triad, and tomorrow there's a car bomb somewhere or whatever. It shouldn't happen. This can stop tomorrow if all the banks take these accounts off the banks. This is the point I'm making. We're not that sophisticated. This can happen tomorrow. Tomorrow. It can happen tomorrow, and this will all die away. If you want to offer a loan, go and get regulated, go get licensed. Then the CBN will look into you. We can then sue you as a person if someone dies of suicide. You can't just hang around, go online, create one app, put it on Google Play Store, give people loans, and then move on. It's not going to happen. We won't let it happen. We want to drive this down. On my own personal part, my Twitter handle, I will keep on saying it. You know, these guys are criminals. Don't treat them like bankers or loan apps. Don't engage them. Don't take loans from them. They are illegal. They have nothing to do with your BVN. They can't stop you taking a loan. It's impossible. But they have your data. So don't patronize them. Don't go there and be like, what can they do? They have your data. One day you go to America and they will sell that information, and somebody will create a profile of you and take a loan to buy a house or whatever, and it's on you. John, I see your hands up. Go ahead, sir. And I see don't speak. So, John, could you don't poke. Can you speak now? If you can, just go ahead.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, John, just hold on. Let me have the. Yeah, I can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, thank you so much for this space. I haven't read David's article.
You haven't read it? Yeah, West African.
I got home like 2 hours ago, and I had to book, settle everyone first. I think at this point, because it's obvious to me that the banks are in on the take, it's pretty much obvious, and there's almost nothing we can do at this point beyond. I think what we need to do basically is to sensitize as many people as possible. Tell everyone this shouldn't be an option. Don't go to them. Once they stop having people coming to them, and then we can think of ways to mop up the mess we already have on ground.
Yeah.
Without they leave the country, I think so. And I quickly want to share my experience. I've never had a reason to go to them, thank God, but I've gotten countless number of messages from them on WhatsApp, insulting, horrible messages about some people I know, some I don't even know. One I got from my mechanic I used 2 years ago, but probably because it still has my number or something, and they got me so riled up one day. I had to reply one of the messages. They sent a sticker to me. I'm thinking, is there a way we can sue this? I'm not trying to minimize the trauma of the people who take loans from them and all that, but how about we, the receivers of such messages? I pick up my phone and they're cussing me out because according to them, the person has to be my sugar daddy or boyfriend who probably shared the money he gets from them. My children will die, threatening that they have my information information, they'll post this, I'm not a lawyer, but my father was a lawyer, so I was raised by a lawyer. I have my head screwed tight. I had to send them a well-written response, and I encourage them to try it, and I will meet in court. You know, you have to,
my advice to you on that.
Documents I signed, standing surety for this loan or that loan, and that was when they left me. I mean, is there nothing we can do? I pick up my phone and I read all these horrible things about some principle I don't even know. You know, I've never gone to them for any loan, thank God. So all this talk about information being sold on the dark web, if you know how scared that got me, and I actually knelt down to thank God that I never had a reason to go to them for a cover. So as far as I know, and concerning the Nigerian banks, monies disappear for no reason. They charge me for this and that. Recently, a good amount entered my account. I had to run to the bank to go put a yen on my account because in the first place, the money wasn't mine. Was supposed to somebody sent the money to help me, for me to help them get so and so. I had to go put a yen. That's how much distrust I have for Nigerian banks. You know, and CBN looks the other way. I don't know how long we have to do this. I mean, once I hit a certain amount in my account, they know me well. I'm not going to, mention the name of my bank, but they know me well at my branch. I rush in there to put a yen on my account because I don't trust them. I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and they tell me somebody has withdrawn 2 million account, something. That's how much. I don't trust. You know, so.
Let me say something.
Expecting the banks to do anything about this is like wishing for, Christmas in July or something.
Oh my God!
I don't think they'll do anything about it. They're making so much money out of this. I think what we really need to do is to sensitize people. Tell as many people as possible around you. Don't go to these people. They will kill you.
They are criminals. They are criminals.
You said, I've read so much about jazz and blah blah blah. They will come into your house, cut off your hand, and they'll take it away. They tell you they're coming back next week to cut the other one if you don't pay so and so. And it goes on. They wreck lives. We need to tell our people, tell your driver, your mechanic, your hairdresser, tell everyone, because generally, these are the people who run to them to these rooms. And these people are actually not a killer. They can't listen to this piece. They can't read about all these things. They feel they don't have a choice. But if you sensitize them, talk, speak with everyone around you. These people they shouldn't even be on the list of your options. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great comment. John, I'm going to come to you, John, but great comment. Let me just make a point, right? Don't communicate with these people. If they send you those DMs, just save it for information, but please don't reply them. Don't communicate with them. Sometimes they send that information out to know which contacts are actually real. So they'll send you that information because they have all the contacts from the gentleman. When you respond, they know, okay, this is real. This one is a real contact. They file it on that real contact. So I would say you don't have any business with them, so don't communicate with them. Don't establish any whatever. If they're going to sue you, you know what to do. But don't give them any information that they shouldn't have. What if this whole scheme is a scheme to get drivers, cooks, mechanics to your driver? Mechanics touch your number under Oga Toyota to get the information of Oga Toyota somewhere. What if it's just an elaborate scam using loans as a cover? Then tomorrow they'll be the guy, okay, go and write names of 5 people you know that can guarantee you. Then they go and write names of 5 people. What's their address? They write those addresses. I mean, let's think like that. This could be just an elaborate scheme by some guy to get list of folks in Lekki or VI or whatever or Yaba. So don't communicate. Don't do anything with these people, right? That's just going to be my best tip. David, you've been here for close to 2 hours. I know you're a very busy guy. This is 1:49. I'm going to have you come in and just maybe do a summary or say your piece, and then I can let you go. I can stay back a few minutes and just close down the house. So David, you've got the floor just to make a few comments. Again, if you're just joining, we're about to close it. We're talking about the West African Weekly's latest article, Suicide, Fraud, and Phillips Consulting. The Story of West Africa's Chinese Loan Shark Mafia by David Hundeyin. So, David, you've got the floor, sir.
Right, so I guess there isn't really much to say. If anyone who has read the article should pretty much have the gist. But what the only other thing I'll add is that this is only the last of such things. So as the world converges, as the global economy becomes more a global village, if I want to use that, but you're going to see more and more of these sorts of things happening. So previously we thought of global convergence only in terms of the economic benefits that it brings, but there's also criminality that it brings. People can also export their criminality from wherever to our jurisdiction. So we have to sort of start taking in more information about the world around us. There are worse things in the world than Nigeria. There are worse criminals in the world than Nigerian or African criminals. There are worse things that people are capable of worse than the worst we are capable of. So it's not absolutely everything that somebody brings from somewhere that you necessarily jump at. And I think we should learn to just be a bit more skeptical in general about everything.
Good point, David. You need to dive deep into that point. What you're trying to say is that this criminality, if we let it have a foothold here, in the next 1 or 2 years, you're going to see real criminality. They will now train the enforcers. Now they're training the fintech, the online folks. It might go further than this if we don't stop it now. This is the criminality we're talking about. So that's a good point that we must take into account. If you don't stop it now, 2-3 years, it will get worse. They'll now physically come to your house, not send you a DM. So we have to shut it down now. So John, go ahead and speak, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I just want to still mention that I think you made a point. I think the banks are a big point of resolving this issue.
Yeah.
But I think the banks are in two parts. Like these loan sharks have corporate accounts with the banks, and then they also generate like for each loan taker. I don't know, probably they call it virtual accounts. But I think the bankers also know about that. And,
David had told us. David told us that he has information, but he of course can't share it now. That they are doing profit sharing. That's crazy. I wish if he got that information and he shared, that would be crazy. Profit sharing with a loan shark, criminality.
So I think that's one. And the other thing is that I like the article has shed light on the whole thing, the criminality part, and even the terrorism part. And if we don't stop them now, they can degenerate into bigger things, physically, and even people that think they are not affected, it may get to them. You don't have to be the one who has taken the loan.
True.
So it's something that is a big case that must be addressed.
Very true. Very, very true. The criminality and the terrorism. Thank you, John. The terrorism, very, very true. So I've got Mega Gideon. Mega Gideon, go ahead, sir. Thank you, John.
Hello, good evening.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Great. Go for it.
Thank you very much, Kandu and David, for hosting this. I started reading the article actually, and I feel so sorry for Kenneth.
Yeah.
It's that bad. I think I was a victim in 2017 before I started working with a financial institution. I was actually in credit, and I saw, should I say, the loan circle, the loan triangle. People take loan, you repay back, you have a risk to come back and apply for another. Is that bad? It becomes addictive. And for these loan sharks, this is really painful. What it do to people. I had the then classmates. They kept sending us pictures and messages, several loan companies. And then if you try applying, maybe you take a loan from, say, Soko, you go to Air Credit, or probably on that loan. You know that they tell you that because you owe a sister company so and so amount, you can't take a loan from us. It's that bad.
It's the same. It's the same people. It's the same people.
Yes, same people. That's true. That's same people. And talking about the guy that was changed or maybe stopped working with support loan, the whistleblower actually.
Yeah.
I think the outsourcer can actually receive the money he's owing his company, that was the company that he was outsourced to. I think it is legal. Say for example, your outsourcer employs you to maybe a place of work. Then when you leave that place, for example, your ID card or maybe you have money that you're supposed to pay to your parent company or the company you are sourced to, I think your outsourcer can actually collect that money from you and remit back to their employer.
What are you saying? Say it in a way I can follow. So in this case, the gentleman left Soko and asked asked the customer to pay to his personal account.
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue. What are you saying?
I think it is legal because
how can it be legal?
Actually, it's not Soko loan.
His employer is Soko loan. His employer was Soko loan. He left Soko loan and asked the person that was going to pay to Soko loan to pay to his personal account. That's what he did. So when he did that, Philips Outsourcing then asked him to refund the money back to Philips Outsourcing. Yeah, that's right. When he collected the funds that were meant for Soko, then Philips Outsourcing asked him to refund the money to Philips Outsourcing to their corporate account, which he did. That's what happened. Yeah. So that's illegal.
Yes, I understand you. I understand. I'm not supporting Soko. I'm not supporting Philips Outsourcing. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is this: Soko loan is actually not his employer. The outsourcer rather is his employer.
No, that's what I'm explaining.
He was seconded to Soko loan. Do you get?
Okay.
Okay, he's seconded to Soko loan. His actual employer should be Philips Outsourcing. So if you have anything pertaining to Soko loan, I think you can make those payments to Philips Outsourcing, and Philips Outsourcing will remit back to Soko loan. I think I don't know. I think I've seen cases like this before. You see, outsourcers tell their employees that they seconded to another company. If you have so and so, you have to return it back to us.
I hear you. So I think I understand. I hear you, but I think the point is that the activity is illegal. They cannot.
Illegal, yes,
okay,
definitely.
So if the activity is illegal, why is a respected corporate, getting involved in any way with an illegal activity? That's the point we're making, right?
Weak regulation from our end.
So
country.
So that's the point that we're actually making.
SCP refused to speak since this whole issue.
I think we should. I don't want us to. Yes. I don't want us to attack anyone, right? They are here.
It's not attacking.
Oh, but they are here, right?
So I think they owe responsibility to Nigerians to say, okay, this is what we are saying, but maybe for reasons best known to them, they've been asked to listen and not speak. Thank you very much. I get you, because I don't know who is listening. It's their handle that is listening, right? And they are welcome anytime. And handle of FCCPC, anytime you want to come back in and talk about all this, you are welcome. We'll do a session. I'll bring you in. So anytime you want to come in, I will talk. That just making that point clear. David, I don't know if you caught what he was saying. He was saying that the whistleblower.
So, I understand the point he was trying to make, that it's a case of the outsourcing provider requiring the departed employee to refund money due to the conduct to them. And yes,
Hello?
David?
Yeah.
Yeah, you accidentally muted everyone.
Sorry
so
about that.
Yes, on paper that's true, but the point is that that's a moot point because the activity that was anyway. And say Philips Consulting is seconding people to an armed robbery gang.
Sure.
And then somebody is supposed to refund money to the armed robbery gang, and then so that somehow makes it legal. A robbery gang. Philips Consulting has no business working with an armed robbery gang, which is pretty much exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the point. So I think we shouldn't get lost in the semantics and sort of lose the forest for trees here.
Yeah.
Because that's actually substantive issue. Now, I also want to point out that the lawyer mentioned in the article, the guy who wrote the petition that successfully got so-called loan fined at NICTA is actually in this room now. So I don't know if you want to bring him up or if he
what's his name?
Stacey Hundeyin.
But you are, let me see, Olumide is here. Let me make you a co-host so you can bring him up. I've sent you a co-host invite, David. So if you can bring him up, I don't see those invites at all. It's a technical thing with me. So you are a co-host, Olumide is a co-host. If you can find him, you can bring him up to speak. I would love to hear, just to give his own setup, how, because people are asking, if I get into this, what can I do legally? It would be good to hear from a lawyer, just to say what we can do if we are victims, or if we get this defamatory war stuff. So if you can add him, I would love that.
I just sent him an invite.
Okay.
Hopefully Twitter let through.
Yeah, I don't know why I see the number 35 requests to speak, but I don't see the folks that want to speak. I have to literally physically.
Use Android phones, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's Android.
Yeah.
So I have to get an Apple phone. Jeez, what is heck? Why are we being discriminated against?
Yeah, I don't understand. Apparently, that's how this works.
Okay, so yeah, so if he can come up, we would love to have him speak, and I'm gonna try to I can manually add. That's what's going on, guys. It's if Olumide, do you use an Android or an Apple? Maybe, yeah.
I use an Android phone.
Oh my God, I need an Apple guy to hands up, so we make you a co-host, and then you can help us out here, because Olumide is. Oh, Roy. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Invite to co-host. Oh, 2 co-hosts. Give me a sec. Olumide, give me a sec. I'm going to remove you, and I'm going to make Roy co-host. So, Roy, you're now a co-host, right? If you can assist. So, Roy, can you see the folks that want to speak?
So far, yes. Wow, 30.
There you go. So let's wait for the lawyer. Could you search for the lawyer and add the lawyer first of all?
What's the name?
Is the last name?
Stacey Hundeyin, SESI, Stacey.
Oh, well, same surname as you, David.
Yes.
Yes. What are you talking about? I can see.
So have you added him?
I haven't seen him. No, I can't see that person.
So I think he had to request, or you look for him. Then that way.
Yeah, I'm scrolling and I can't see that name. There are lots of names and I'm going through it. But so far, no.
Let me see.
Maybe that person has dropped off.
No, what? David, if you send him a DM, David can send you a DM. He's back. Then you can add him on. Yeah.
Okay. So it's back now, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, I sent him an invite to speak, but
David, you could send a DM to Roy. Then Roy could send him the invite to speak. That way he will get it.
So if you just copy the person's profile and send to me.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll send you a DM right now.
And so once we have him, right, Roy, just interrupt and come back in. Once we have him, then you can just interrupt and say like he's here, and then we'll just take him on. So Roy, they're gonna clean the house for us. I'm just gonna take off the current speakers that we have. So I have George. Roy, you can add folks now. George, you can unmute and speak. Roy, once you have the lawyer, just interrupt us. George, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks, Carlo. Thanks, David, for this expose. I wanted to say that there is a special. I can't collect the name now. It's called SCUML, SCUML.
Oh, yeah.
Certificate that is supposed to give to open an account with the banks. I personally have an experience right now where I'm trying to open a corporate account, and I've been taking through serious stress to get that certificate. I think the banks have a duty for such organizations, loan sharks. I want to believe that they will need this document. It has a lot of details about address, registration certificates, details of directors, and a whole lot. So there is a missing gap. If there's a gap somewhere, if they can operate an account without it. And this is a policy that has been on, I think, since 2005 or thereabout. So the EFCC, I don't know if they are here, are also supposed to get involved in these kind of things to see what certificates or approvals they've given. Through that, they definitely will have to put an address and put certain directors who should be real. So I don't know what certificates or what documents are submitted to the banks for this opening of accounts. Thank you.
So this is going to be the SCUML. SCUML. So I agree with you. I agree with you completely. If they have that, I would also aid in the due diligence and, of course, the KYC. I hear you. Yeah, I'm going to send the mail to you. So, Roy, your hands are up. What's going on?
I can see Ceci.
Add him on. Bring him on. Yep, go ahead.
The invitation is there, but he hasn't accepted it.
Okay, so David will let him know the invitation is on. But you can go.
For him to accept it. So
yeah, you can add. Go ahead and add, folks. I'll moderate, but you just add, and I'll take them off. So go ahead and add. Once the lawyer is here, we'll just interrupt and let him speak. So go ahead and add. Go ahead.
All right then.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, so Roy is request via Roy. Yeah. So who have you added? I see you've added
I've added Tobenka.
Tobenka. All right, Tobenka, how are you doing? Go for it. Unmute and say hi.
I'm fine.
Thanks for waiting. Sorry. Yes, you're on.
I saw the I was surprised for David's newsletter like a couple of years ago. So I get something I saw
Tobena, your audio is very bad. So let me just have you go straight to the question. Your audio has lots of background noise on it, Tobena. So I'm going to mute Tobenka and I'm going to have Mers speak. So Mers, could you come off and speak? Tobena, if you can hear me, Tobena, just see if you can mute your mic and then just come back. Mers, you've got the floor, sir. Go for it. Mers, just unmute and go, sir.
I've added time while we're waiting for Mez.
Okay. Let me see. Mez isn't speaking, so I'm going to take Mez off. So Mez is off. Then who did you say you added, sir?
Time. His handle is showing time.
Okay. I do not see him, but if he's there, he can unmute and speak, but I do not see him yet.
Richie? Okay, I'll give someone else then while we wait.
There you go. Thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. I do appreciate it. You moderating at just short notice. We're almost at the end, but I felt 35 folks. Oh, time is right here. Oh, time. Go ahead and unmute and go ahead and speak, sir. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Okay, yeah, I'm fine. Okay, I think I just saw David's I will read it when I'm done here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I sent you the year before having an experience with new credit and S-Cash. There are a lot of these people. I lost my phone. I opened my apps and there was a backup on it. So everything that came back, I had to check them. I thought that one of them was on 13,000 for me to pay 18,000 naira. I checked it, I saw it was 28,000 naira already. I was like, no, this thing is big. I saw the one that was at 21 to them. 18, I thought 18 to pay 21. That one already got to tax something. I was like, how is this possible, sir? And yeah, things were struggling right now for me to even think about it. And when I saw it, I just had to delete the apps. I saw the messages receiving, I just deleted them. Now, one thing I was saying about this stuff is, these young people, I saw like the account number they were telling me to send money to. I saw GT, I saw Carbon, I saw Wima, I saw Kuda. Even one of them sent me to send back.
Sorry.
So people know these people are doing this stuff.
So say it again. So
they were using different accounts to send me account numbers. Different phone numbers to send me different account numbers.
this account number, you put in it. When the next one comes and you account number, the next number comes and tell you that you're owing, you need to pay, you send a different back account number. Now, like the one you sent me this evening, I saw Wima Bank. I was like, whoa. So you put out this, I just ignored the message. They sent me a list of them giving me from tomorrow. They start sending messages. I said, okay, no problem. You can start sending, let me to the message to send because I denied them permissions to my contacts. I opened the app.
Gotcha.
So since then, they've never had to my account. They can't get to my numbers.
Gotcha. Well, okay. Thank you, Time. I have Ceci's here. I've got Ceci. Time, let me just make a quick point, right? If you delete the app, it does not stop the loan. If you delete the app, it does not stop the loan. It doesn't. So please know that deleting the app does not stop the loan, guys. You have to settle that matter. So Time. Okay, that's a good point. So delete the app to take the pictures from your phone and all that. But okay, very, very good point. So delete the app to start getting access to your phone, but it doesn't stop the loan, guys. Just so you know, right? Time, thank you so much for that contribution. I appreciate it. I have Ceci. Ceci, good day, sir. Thank you for agreeing to just come onto the space with us. I've read the article. I saw how you went through the legal, the process of that of trying to get your clients equity. I have two questions for you. Number one, just tell us your own part in this. And number two, lots of folks are asking, how can they protect themselves? If they've taken a loan, what can they do? If they've been named, i.e. someone send them an SMS or they feel they've been compromised, do they have any legal rights? On those 2 points, Ceci, if you could just take us through, we would appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Carlo. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being on this space. Thank you, David. You're doing an amazing job. All right. So, like a background to this story, it happened in 2019. And it was one of my senior colleagues that they don't do litigation in their law firm. They just do more of solicitor's work. So when I got the request to represent this guy, I had to call him and sit him down. What happened? How did you do this? He said he was owing. And that day was his due date. I said, but that does not mean you publish your name in their, I call you a thief on the run. That is absurd. What did you do? When he told me the story, I was shocked. So I don't practice that area of law, data protection, but I had the law then. So I had to do my research and I looked at the law. So not even just a regulation, not a law yet, but Nigeria has a regulation. The law there's a bill at the National Assembly now that will soon become a law. And that regulation stipulates that you cannot publish, you cannot use the data of somebody without consent. So I had to go through the app and I looked at the privacy policy. And they said they can collect your data, they can process your personal data for the purpose of debt recovery.
Interesting.
So I asked a question. Yes, I asked the question, okay, now what you have done now, is it what the customer signed up for in the privacy policy? The answer is no. The customers agreed, believing that you will come to ask him to pay his debt, not publish his contact to third parties, calling him a thief, not even a debtor, calling him a thief, a criminal on the run, a fraudster. I know some kind of message they sent to people. So I said, when you told your customers in the privacy policy, it's not the same thing you are doing to enforce your debt recovery, because you can actually enforce debt recovery by legal means. Banks do it, but the banks don't call you thieves. They can call you debtors, they can't call you thieves. So I had to look at what can we do that will be effective. So I felt, okay, let's write. I wrote them an email. They didn't respond to our email. I asked them to pay our client some money and also apologize and retract the statement, because the thing got to his employer, it even got to his wife and his church member. He was really embarrassed and he didn't know what to do. So I wrote them an email, a letter. They didn't reply. So I looking for their address. Went to Ikeja, went to Lekki. We didn't find them physically. They were not physically, but they had an address on CAC. I thought, let's write to the regulator and report. I had a friend that works in NIT, then he left somewhere in Nigeria trying to buy. So I told him, please help me talk to your bosses that this is a case and I'm interested in this case. So he got the letter. NIT invited us, they called us for a meeting, they interviewed the client, they interviewed me, and they even called the police to even investigate this guy. But I think they could not crack them at that time.
Well, eventually there was pressure from other lawyers. I mean, not the right template. As it became a problem, an issue that they had to respond. So they responded last year and said they investigated this company and they found that all we said about them is true. And they have patterns of that behavior that they have to find them. And the law say that you can actually find them 2% of their gross income or 10 million naira. So they went for 10 million naira, but there was a problem. They didn't give the clients the money. The government said that the money is for the regulator, that they can only issue fines, but they cannot compensate the victim. So now what do we do? So the other option was for us to go to court, but the client was not really eager to go to court. He thought it's going to take a lot of time, like 2 or 3 years and all of those things. So we just paused and we held on to that litigation. It still in the works, but we might resolve the litigation. So a lot of people have called me to ask me what can they do. So number one.
But Ceci, just hold on. Roy, can you hear Ceci? Ceci's audio?
I can hear you.
Super. Ceci, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So now, what the first thing is that I would advise people out there, if you are dealing in a transaction that involves a click-wrap contract, that's a contract where you just click, I accept. Make sure you understand the privacy policy. The privacy policy is the policy that guides how the company uses and the process of personal data, whether it's a Nigerian company or a foreign company. Number two, what is your right if your data is your privacy? Because if you have a contract with the company, you have my data with you. What is my right if that data is leaked or is used for an illegal purpose? So under the Constitution, let's even leave the NDPR, which is the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. Under the Constitution, you have a right to privacy and family life. So under that law, I have some of my friends who have gone to court, even one to court against UBA last week, and they won the case where UBA mistakenly are sending in SMSs, for something, and they subscribe to that message. And the court issued them, I think, about 1 or 2 million against UBA, and they paid. So under that section of the Constitution, they actually go to court, and it's not even a case of years, it's not a 1 or 2 year case, it's a case of 6 months to 9 months, you get judgment. Under fundamental right and public, so you get judgment. Then, if anybody is calling you something you are not, like telling you are a thief, and there's no proof, it's only a court of law, after police investigation and prosecution, that declare you a criminal, and you will be sent to prison. If anybody calls you a thief because you took a loan, if the person is wrong, even I want that to take a loan, okay, yes, pay your loan. But if peradventure someone is calling you a thief on the run and publishes it to a third party, there are two issues there. One, issue of thoughts, defamation of character. And once your reputation is damaged, there's no amount of money that can compensate for loss of reputation. So you can actually sue them in civil case. Then secondly, you can actually proceed against them under the NDPR. But then NDPR is saying that before you go to court, you can actually go to what they call the administrative redress panel. But these guys have refused to settle that panel. I've engaged them in several forums. Even last year, we were in the lab for a program, also by Facebook, by Meta. And I asked a question. I asked my friend at work. I said, Mr. Femi Daniel, when NITD set up this panel is meant to actually investigate this kind of cases and now issue a fine in favor of the victim. And the fact that they said that for now they don't have a body and everything, so I was angry and I just left. And if I'm not still, they're trying to make this system sane. And you need to enforce your own law. Your own law says, set up a panel. This is not even a court. A panel that will hear this thing speedily. And if you now have an appeal, you can appeal to the court. So it's not done. So I think that what we can do now, if people are serious, because the monies are quite small, 20,000 naira, so they can't take on litigation. If they are serious, there are lawyers out there. I don't want to advertise for anybody, but there are lawyers that will readily take on your case. And they'll go to court. If you like court to readily compel them to set up that panel, they will do that. And without going to that court, you can actually go and sue them for a breach of your fundamental human rights, which I said is your right to privacy and family life. So you have a right. But most people are not ready to go to court. I say, I have people that reach out to me, but they're not ready to go to court. If they're ready to go to court, I can assure you will win your case. I can assure you nobody will victimize you, nobody will come for you. You will win your case because it's a clear case. What they are doing is wrong. It is illegal. If a customer is owing you money, we have enough courts in Lagos so they can give you judgment within 3 months. A lot of courts will give in favor of the creditor, of the lender. So you can't become somebody criminal, a fraudster, and all of those things.
Rapist.
Yeah. Even my friend as a lawyer, he published his son's picture.
What?
And called his mother. I think his sister used his mother's phone mistakenly to collect. I want to know now. They published his mom's picture and even put his son's picture. He was furious and he ran to me and said, "Do you know what you do?" I told him what he would do, but fortunately he didn't do those things. I said, "Get the bank statement. Let's do it. We'll get these guys. I don't care. I will find them out." So they do this thing because people don't sue them. When you sue like 2 of them and they get judgment in court and you have to pay money to you. Imagine them being sued like 100 people. They will go bankrupt, and that's how they will stop. Because once they get investigation, they will stop. But if you don't sue these guys, they will not stop. So aside from us being careful and being prudent in our approach, let's try to be litigious. If you are litigious against 2 or 3 of them, the class action, they will stop. Because kind of money they will use in paying out claims to people. Imagine giving somebody not 10,000 naira, getting a case of 100 million naira against you for 12 people. That's almost $1 billion naira.
Yeah.
Go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I've said this to so many people, but I don't like our version is not allowed to advertise. So I can't advertise myself out there to people that this is what to do. If you are ready, I'm ready to go to court on your behalf. Don't even pay me. Don't pay me for fees. I don't need your money. If we win the case, we'll know how to split the money. Let's go file the case. Get me a screenshot of these messages. Tell me the company that issued you this loan. We'll go to the bank and trace. The banks have their statement of that. So they go to the bank and ask them for bank statement of the money that because the bank, this people created your account with some money. The bank will have the statement of account of the company that paid you. It can't be so-called loan. You have a name of account. So it's not a difficult thing to do if you are ready. But I can't do that for you as a lawyer. I can only tell you how to gather evidence. And I'll put evidence before the court, and the court will hear your case. I can't do that. So I've tried to do this with many people, but they don't want to do the hard work of getting evidence, and I cannot really be doing ambulance chasing. So I have to just stop there. So that's what I've done so far. But I can tell all of us here that if you go to the court will give you judgment because you have a case. Notwithstanding yes, you can pay your debt, but that does not mean you cannot use an illegal means to enforce a legal contract. It's not possible. You can't do that. You can only enforce a contract that is legal by legal means, and you cannot use an illegal means to enforce. What they are doing is even illegal. They are lying to people that it's privacy policy. We are twisting it. Privacy policy you are putting out there is not what you are actually doing the wrong. You are doing the opposite of what they are saying. It's privacy policy. You are using their personal data to defend their character, not to enforce the contract, which is a loan. You are using their personal data to call them names, criminal names, and they are damaging their reputation. So that can never be a legal privacy policy. And that is also a message to all of us out there. If you're a company, please, if you want to do a privacy policy, get a lawyer to tell you there are certain things in the NDPR that should be in a privacy policy. You must tell the customer that you're asking for his consent. You must tell him what he will do with the privacy policy, with his data, like using my data for cookies or for data collection. Yes, but not to publish it to my family, my friends, and all the church members that I am a thief, I'm an armed robber. It is actually wrong obituary. It's not done anywhere in the world. Even the best countries in terms of credit, they don't do that. I've done my research, so it's only because our government in this country decided to do the other way around. Even NITDA, they are culpable. Because NITDA cannot tell me that when these guys are coming in, they don't know that these guys are registered. I mean, they're culpable. They've done what to an extent, but they've not done enough. I think FCC have tried their best in the last 2 months. They've tried to take them off Google Play Store. They've tried, but it is quite a weak regime. And I mean, they can't all say they don't know this thing. It's very unfortunate. So let's be careful out there. But if your right has been infringed upon, the law is that wherever there is a legal wrong, there's a remedy. As far as your wrong is legal, it is within the law, then you have a remedy in law. Just bring evidence forth to the court to take your case, and the court will give judgment based on the fact before it and evidence before it. So I'll stop here for now.
Ceci, quick one before I even respond to you. Quick one. how can people contact you? Your DM is not open. Is there, I mean, if you give me your DM, you're going to get a flood. Is there any way, if someone wants to contact you or ask a question, what's the best way?
Yeah, my DM open now. I think I have my numbers are online.
Okay.
When you just type Gate solicitors, my firm, you see my numbers. It's everywhere. It's all over the place.
So that's Bloomgate Solicitors. So Bloomgate Solicitors, Ceci, and he just opened his DM. So all those guys, I mean, I have my DM is like just all those DMs, guys. I mean, it's not just Ceci. He's saying that you have legal remedies. You have legal remedies. So go speak to a lawyer. Go speak to a lawyer. I mean, he has broken down. I and David have spoken, but he has given us the facts of the law and the remedies, what you should do. He has even told us about NITID, that panel of arbitration, FC, CPC. Please get the advice and go do it. I am just a personal finance guy. David has brought the information. You have to go and get a lawyer. And Ceci, they can come together and do this class action thing within the US. Is it also possible?
Like, that would be the best approach, honestly. But if we come together, imagine filing 5-10 cases, it's going to come back. So we have like 50 of us that are ready. We can go ahead. The court to give us a certificate of class action, and that to make it even more effective.
Okay.
So pass across a message, because when the court even pronounce on this issue, that can this is a novel issue. Can a company that is doing a quick report, can they use my personal data to defame me? Is this message, does it constitute defamation or not? Because you have a contract. So that when the court actually make a pronouncement on this issue, so it becomes a legal precedent for everybody. Those are coming, and so now everybody have to adjust and know that this is the law in Nigeria. But right now, that law is not yet. The law is still a bit. It's not clear. We know that it's not right. But the court makes judgment.
Wow, Ceci.
So for now, the law is just there. So
Ceci, this is so let me just understand what you're saying. Just to understand what you're saying. And I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. So right now, there's no law really saying that is illegal.
The law is saying you cannot use people's personal data against their consent. That's the law.
Okay.
But this issue of saying that, if we have a contract now, the privacy policy is the contract.
Yeah.
Is it legal or is it illegal if I use that privacy policy, which you've consented to, in a way you've agreed? That's what they are saying now.
Okay.
That because we agreed, we clicked, I accept. That means whatever they do without consent is right. Well, it's all right. We are saying that yes, we agreed to this contract. By clicking, I accept. But we did not agree that our data will be used for this kind of purpose. We agree that to collect a loan and to pay back.
Correct.
But telling us that our data will not be used to call us criminals.
Correct.
And all kinds of names that only a court of law can do. So that's the area where the law has not yet been clarified. Until the courts, I know that is wrong, but the court has to come out explicitly and say on this kind of contract, you cannot say because it's a contract. And now uses illegal, and I say it's legal. It's not legal. So the court, that is where we want the court to actually make a pronouncement. Hopefully, to now give all of us a precedent going forward.
Perfect.
This kind of things will still happen in the future.
Perfect.
It's Roy.
Yeah, Roy, go for it.
Hopefully, we can collaborate because I do data protection. I'm a specialist in data protection, and I said when the Nigeria data protection regulation was released, I said they had gone about it the wrong way. It was totally a copy and paste. As an example, the EU GDPR, as the name implies, is all of the EU countries that came together to make sure that it was enacted. It's an act. And every European country, every EU country rather, not European, every EU country, by it, even Switzerland and Liechtenstein are bound by it. Plus, they are even enforcing other countries like the US that doesn't have universal regulation. They had the privacy shield, they had the safe harbor, but right now they are bound by the EU. If you want to do business with any country in the EU countries, you have to comply by the GDPR. And you can take people to court. So that's what I was saying about the NDPR. They went about it the wrong way. The NIDA is absolutely the wrong agency to be regulating it. It didn't go through the House, either the House of Reps or the Senate, to make it law. So like you rightly said, all of these things have to, there has to be a precedence. But if there's any other way you want us to come in, the policy as well, that you only bites the private companies, and they have to state within the policies, if they draw it correctly, that this is the law that they are complying to. So that also has to be in the policy. But unless it goes all the way to become law, that policy is just as, it's just not as worthy as the way that it's written up. But if there's any chance for us to collaborate,
I said that even aside from this NDPL now, under the Constitution, right now, because when you have a law and you have a regulation, the law supersedes regulation. We call it under hierarchy of laws. Now, the Constitution of Nigeria says this. Yes, the Constitution of Nigeria says you have a right to privacy. So at that time when the legislation was made, we didn't have all of this internet and all of those things. But it contemplates that any kind of privacy you have a right to. Nobody can breach your privacy without legal means. So that particular section is still applicable even under this internet regime. So we are saying, even if you go through that regime, you get some time, you get the court to compensate you. If you go through the NDPL, it might be a long process, but you still get your money back. If you go through the financial character to the High Court of Lagos and sue them, you get judgment. So there are three different ways. But the fastest right now, if you file a suit for fundamental rights, saying your fundamental right to privacy was breached and you prove, the court will grant you judgment within 6 months. That's the one. Imagine filing 3 cases in 3 different heads, you will get judgment. And that's what I've been saying. So if you can do this, pending when this NDPR becomes law, this is the only way we can challenge this impunity and make a statement in the court once and for all, while educating our people on the right way to go about it. And also, I think on policy, people are copying and pasting privacy policies. It's very wrong. The privacy policy must conform with our own NDPR. There are some principles that you must adhere to, especially the issue of consent and the issue of in what circumstances can you release my personal data? I want to make it so those purposes, those things are not, people just copy and paste privacy policy. That is not even consistent with what they are doing. So that is why I think the SMEs should be careful. People are doing awareness about it. I've seen them awareness. Maybe I'll try and do that because I do of real estate. But maybe now I have to come on strongly and educate people that look, this is the way to do privacy. Otherwise, it can earn you a fine. It can give you a bad rap, and it can be like it can give you a bad name, and your brand is gone. It happened in Europe where I think it was a company that was fined. I think it was an airline or something that was fined very heavily, and it was not funny. So
it was British Airways.
Thank you, British Airways. Yes. Yeah. So
Elon Musk has been fined as well.
Yeah, so both the end user, which is you and I, and the company, we both have rights and we both have obligations. So nobody's above the law. So this law, even though it's a very strong law, it is still, there are other windows of enforcement if people are willing to come forward. So
and Ceci, that's the perfect, I think, submission. I think what you've said is this: there has to be the responsibility to seek equity, to seek justice on the part of the defamed, right? They have to go, if they want to form that association or come as a person, I think it's cheaper. You guys should go form a Telegram group or whatever, come together, get yourselves registered or so, approach a lawyer, approach Ceci, approach anyone, and then test this guy. Like I said, no one can hide. As long as you have a bank account, we know who you are. It's that simple. You can't hide. So once we sue people, bring in enforcement, then this thing starts to die away. But if we keep quiet and we complain on Twitter, it might not happen. So I want action to take place, please. All you guys on my DMs, you're on my DMs. He has opened up his DM now. Don't flood his DMs and say, this happened to me. No, I would say maybe go back, get 1 or 2 of you, start a group, get people in. When you guys are together, then go approach again and say, what do we need to do? They will give you step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. File your action, get your money back. Your reputation is been defamed, but punish people for doing this. I would even say, I'm not a lawyer, but add those banks that are aiding and abetting. Add them in there. Let the banks go and explain. Then this will stop. I like precedents. Add the banks. If the law court says they're not liable, they can go. Include them.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ajay. You're very right. Yeah, I don't want to talk about my past success, but I've done cases against big people in this country. Big companies. I only won.
I don't like talking about, I don't like publishing my stuff online because I feel I'm conservative. I'm not like David. I'm conservative. Well, I've done stuff. People are saying, oh, these guys, oh, they're big and everything. But we call judgment because if you have a good case and you have evidence in your favor, you will definitely win the case. Never how big or not big. No matter how big the lawyer, if you have a good case, you will win your case. So anybody that has gone through this process, they are owing somebody money. Doesn't make it criminal. I've said it several. It doesn't make it criminal. It makes you a debtor. And debtors are meant to pay their debt. But the issue of calling you name, paying the debt cannot cancel that. You have to pay for that. You have to pay. Somebody has to pay for that. And it is actionable in thought, actionable in negotiation, actionable in different laws. So if you are ready, let's take on these guys the right way. You happen to Pfizer. I think Pfizer in Canada, when they had an issue where there was this issue of the drug that was killing people, where the drug was for meningitis. And the current DJ of FCCP was one that did that case, and they paid. So it was a flurry of cases. I know how much those guys they shelled out, and I don't think it was a very huge case. Cool. Even the US went to other countries to sue them. So guys like that have done it before. You can do it now. Yeah. But you have to be the one to be ready to bring forth the evidence and have the faith that the system. Nigeria is a very tough place, but the system is still working. I can tell you. True. It's not easy going to go. But the system works. We are trying our best. And there are judges that are very, very principled. They are very, very, they have justice at heart. They will give you justice. True. They will. Once your case is, it's not about sentiment or crying. It's about, do you have a case? True. Does your evidence support your case? And the other party, does it have anything against me? That's it. So that's how the law works. The country is tough, but the law still works in Nigeria, especially when it's not government. They are fighting government. Fighting government is difficult. And fighting individuals or companies, the law works. Because it's so defined, so the law was, and the law will take this course based on facts and evidence, not sentiment. So if you are ready, and I tell you that the law will definitely work in this matter. And going forward, if it happens to you, I always tell my friends, the first thing is to screenshot your stuff. Call your friends that receive the messages, let them screenshot at least 10 of those messages and send it to you. That is your evidence that this thing has gone out. If it went out to 10 people, that means everybody has seen it. Send a screenshot. Put it.
Does it have to be 10? Does it have to be 10 or?
At least 10 minimum.
At least 10. Okay.
By default, their own privacy policy says that by accepting this policy, we have access to all your contacts. So that evidence is already against them.
Oh.
It's already against them. Yes. So, but if you bring that 10 screenshot, it means that if 10 people have seen it, that is enough damage already. That means everybody have already seen it on your phone. So get those content, get those screenshots, go to the bank. Let the bank give you your bank statements when the money was paid to your account. For example, when you paid out to the account, that is evidence of transaction. That's all we need. When you get those things to the lawyer, lawyers know what to do from there. These things you can't deny them. The banks have their system, so it's already in the system. You can't arbitrate them anymore. It's there.
So when you say the bank statement, are you saying the when you took the loan?
Yes, because the loan we paid to the customer via his account. They don't give you cash. Yeah. So if I took a loan from Sokolo pays to my account, my account in bank A or bank B, that transaction was recorded in my bank statement. So I went to my bank and asked them, can you give me my bank statement for yesterday or for the last month, capturing that credit transaction, showing that I took a loan from these people. That's it. And the bank, once you do that, that means you have established a transaction between two of you, and you have a ground to go after them you have a ground to actually say these people have done something wrong too, because we establish a link.
Just these 2 points, Ceci. Just these 2 points, the screenshots and the bank statement. What else? I'm good. That's these two.
Once you have that, you can now talk about going to do a case in court.
Got you. So I mean, this is the format, guys. It says the lawyer has said, get evidence. Get paper trail, get the evidence, screenshots or emails, whatever evidence you have. Minimum 10. Get it, file it away. You can go to your bank statement to show proof of the contract, maybe the communication that you had. File it all in. If you have that, then you have your minimum that you can then go to seek legal representation. So, guys, we're talking about the West African Weekly article by David Hundeyin, Suicide, Fraud, and Phillips Consulting, the story of West Africa's Chinese loan shark mafia. We've gone and talked about what is actually going on. We've called these folks what they are. It's an illegal operation. We believe that they are mining your personal information, and the objective ultimately is to create a debt trap. A debt trap means that you cannot pay back. So you keep on paying, it becomes a source of wealth, taking the money out of Nigeria. They're not regulated, they're not licensed, they are operating an illegal scheme. They are also, as we have seen, been using the infrastructure of the Nigerian commercial banks and also the infrastructure of a respected Nigerian corporate. So we know this is happening, and we're now seeking ways out. David has given a lot of instances. Ceci has come and given us the legal part of it. My focus is the personal side, up to personal finance side. I've said it. Do not take a loan from an illegal body. Once you do that, you've compromised your personal data and you are on the path to a debt trap. That's for me. Ceci has given us the way out legally. There's a way out legally. Thank God for that. And he has basically given us the point. Get your paper trail, get your bank statement evidencing that you had a relationship with them. Once you have this, if you want to come together, if you want to come as a person, he has even said you don't have to pay him a fee. That when you go to court, then if he wins, you can then talk about it. So, but I don't want you guys to flood the DM. Try to do some work on the back and get 1 or 2 or 3 together and then go to him. And there are others. If he's here, there will be others that also want to work as well. So we've achieved the purpose of the spaces, which was one, to disseminate the information, the bad sides, and also to give you the remedial action. That's what we want to do today. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. I've kept folks here for nearly 3 hours. We're now about 2 hours and 41 minutes. David, did you want to come in and say anything? Or else I'm going to ask Roy to add maybe 1 or 2 folks, and then we'll call it an evening.
Yeah, I'll just pass the mic to Roy.
Okay, Roy, there you go. Roy, so if you can maybe help us out with 2. I see Muni.
Yes, I'm going to. I just wanted to clarify to confirm who you want me to get on. And because it's hard to say who came on first or who.
I will leave it to your discussion because I'm not seeing anybody. I don't see it. So whoever you put up here that I can see. Yeah. So I mean, we can have.
As I'm letting them in, I just want to let people know that I am not Ceci because I'm getting DMs that Ceci should be getting already. So please, meanwhile, Ceci.
Ceci is the handsome gentleman with the tie, not Kalu. Ceci Hundeyin is the lawyer, the gentleman with the tie. So go to the speakers. He's right there. Yeah.
Ceci is different from me. I won't be able to deal with what Ceci can deal with. But hopefully, Ceci, I'm also connected to you. If we connect, I can also help with regards to the data protection end of things. I'm going to let people speak now. I've added Yemi.
Okay. So once you add them, I'll call them out. We'll just maybe do 1 or 2 and then we'll call today. So Mumuni, you are in here. You can unmute and go ahead, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you so much. And I would say a very big thank you to Ceci, David, and everyone. People who have been part of this movement. And I'm really proud of Ceci. Ceci, we actually schooled together, so let me thank them. And I would say that the purpose of what Ceci has said tonight, I think I just want to reiterate is to show a pattern. Getting as many of those screenshots as possible is to show a pattern. That way you are able to know the coffee of those people who perpetrate such acts. Recently, I had to be involved in helping a young girl who is about 21 years old. Her father actually contacted me because she was going to commit suicide. She borrowed money from some of these loan sharks. The outrageous interest kept piling up. And the naive young lady didn't know what to do. So she kept borrowing money from other loan sharks to repay the other. So at the end of the day, she was indebted to like maybe about 20 of them. And it was a very difficult thing to do. So we had to start, analyzing the issues. First of all, we decided that all of those people, all of those loan sharks who had sent messages, damaging messages about her, were going to deal with them later. So a whole lot of them that maybe were professional, we settled the debt, especially the lesser ones. But you see, Sokolo, credits, and one other one I can't remember, were actually terrible with the way they actually did their things. They built a criminal, they would get a full picture of our family members and paste it around and say wanted. So most times she would get the alert, our friends would send to her, then I would now pick it up from there and try to chat with them to get them to say more things. And you find out that some of them they are proud. And they tell you there is nothing you can do, I'm faceless, you can't catch me. So I'm really proud that, David has brought this issue to the forefront. And I can see that I saw FCCPC listening to this. So I'm thinking that they would accelerate, the alternatives and the option to pushing for these things very hard. Some of these guys don't have an office. There is one the loan that a client sent to me, sent out damaging information about this person. We wrote a letter. By the time the delivery person got to their office, they are no longer there. So we need information about these people so that they do not operate from the shadows or the dark. And truly, they've messed up with the mental health of people. Some people have committed suicide on account of this. So I think that it's a good thing that all of this is here. And I want to beg Nigerians, do not leave your fight for God. Take up these battles and fight. If we do not take up these issues and test the law, we would not be able to advance a society and make sure that we make progress. Unfortunately, the young lady, after we were able to negotiate some of our debts and do a whole lot of cleaning up and get some of them to waive off their outrageous interest, the family members were not ready to go to court. So there was nothing I could do. You could not induce them. I always had to leave it like that. But for me, the basic battle, the sign of victory for this was Ceci's move in terms of petitioning Mixta and the rest of them against Sokolo. So I think that particular move and the consequent penalty issued against Sokolo in 10 million naira was like the sound of victory for us. And for everyone in the legal space, it became a rallying point for us to believe that this thing can be done and we can actually make a headway. So I'd like to see how exactly we can increase the mechanisms that will enable us to push and ensure that we are able to, in real time, ensure that these guys are brought to book. If they need to be put before a special tribunal, so be it, so that we can ensure that their process and every of the adjudication process is done very, very fast and expediently. Thank you so much, guys.
Very, very welcome. Thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate those comments. Ceci, I have a few questions for you, right? And just in case you might hit you, I have a few clarifications for you. So someone is asking, I think he's a lawyer, he's asking, is there any limitation on the action when you come under fundamental rights /torts? So Ceci, when someone know that, is there any limitation?
Yeah. If you are coming under fundamental rights, there is no time limit to file your fundamental rights. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, if you're coming under fundamental enforcement procedure rule of 2009, there is no time limit for that. But under tort, yes, there's time limit in tort because it's a civil matter. So I would say that for me now, if I want to go, I'll go by your fundamental rights first of all. I'll go by that. I'll also go by tort because tort will take a longer time. It might take up to 3 years to settle a civil case in the High Court. But fundamental rights is like 6 months at the Federal High Court. So there's no time limit for fundamental rights. But for tort, yes, I think it's about 7 or 8 years. I'm not sure now. Lagos State limitation now, we check it was about 7 or 8 years for the tort case. So this is still quite fresh. So the second one was just the second is less than 4 years old. So from 4 years till now, that action is still actionable in tort. That's where it gets damage for defamation of character. But for your breach of privacy, under fundamental rights, that one you have the window is still open for you to file a case right now.
Got you. So great point. So let me ask you the second question again. This is from Mayoga. He's asking that banks publish names of defaulters every day in the newspaper. So I think it's asking for clarification. What's different from that and what is other guy? Just if you just clarify that.
So if I am Damilola Mumini now, we have a transaction, I give him money and there's no pay. And I tell Dami's wife, Madam Dami, Dami's wife, your husband is owing me money. There's nothing bad there. I don't know if but that is a factual statement. It's owing me money, it's factual. So if bank publishes their customers, list of customers, data, whatever, publish their names as for being debtor, they will not disclose anything private because it's between them and the bank. Yeah. I can say that we are all knowing that they are owing us money. We all now know that they are owing. Why are they not owing us? They are owing us money. They are owing the banks money. So that is not the same thing with this. We are telling people, third party, that this person is a criminal. That is the difference. It's a criminal. This person is on the run. This person is a
child rapist.
That's a criminal offense. You cannot call someone a criminal without proof. Even the police, they call you suspect or defendant. This is when you get to court and you have been arraigned and prosecuted and convicted. It's at that point that you're not be called a criminal. But before that process, so you can't call anybody a criminal yet.
Sorry, that is very, very, to me, it's a very wrong thing that they are doing. That's the banks now, because to be a bank, you are not just a bank to have Nigerian customers. You can also have expatriates as customers. You can also have international customers. And besides, you are actually an entity that is global, hopefully. Publishing defaulters, debtors, or whatever is very, very wrong. It's a private matter between you and the bank. They should have mechanisms to chase debt collectors, and which is why the EU, or any country under the EU, regard Nigeria as a third country inadequate, because and that's where we go back to the NDPR. It is not strong enough. If all of those things are not as loose as they are, you don't have to publish people's names in any newspaper or anywhere. You have their credit. It means they cannot get any other loan somewhere else. So you see, that's why I say it goes all the way up to the structure of the country, the financial structure, the legal structure, the data regulation. That is totally wrong. A strong institution, a strong system should have a way of saying, right, Malam A has defaulted this loan, so Bank C or Loan Shark D will not give him a loan. He cannot go anywhere else. That's it. And besides, here, as an example, 6 years maximum. If I owe back this bank, after 6 years, they wipe my record clean if I don't pay. Because people go through so much. They make it easy for people. We're talking about people committing suicide. It's a mental issue. And it's totally wrong.
It's wrong.
Somebody is buying 200 buses, as alleged. The system has to work. Banks should not do that. It's laziness. It's intellectual laziness that's making them do all those things. They shouldn't do that. It's totally wrong.
I hear you. I hear you. But just, I think what Ceci is saying, that he's making a clarification that when the banks say it, it's factual. They are saying you owe me. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but if you say somebody is a child rapist, that has nothing to do with facts or whatever. But I want Yemi to speak. Yemi, Yemi, go ahead and speak.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Go for it, yeah.
Actually, yeah, good evening, everyone. So actually, I have something I would like to chip in. And actually, it actually comes down to, I said to GM earlier.
Yes.
So basically, what I think I enjoyed this space, and this is like my first time of joining a space like for this long, and that is because this particular topic of interest, I have, let's say, a little bit of knowledge about it, if not much, like a 1 year experience of this. So I work with a debt collector firm. Are you with me?
Yes.
So basically, our own firm is very ethical. But this is what I like to chip in regarding this. A typical Nigerian have this knowledge of, okay, I want to collect a loan and I don't want to pay back. Like over the years, I've seen a lot of people. Now, I'm not disputing the fact that there are some loan sharks that people have mentioned so far, like they threaten people. First thing first is, the reason why most people actually threaten their customers is because the people that are asked to recover this loan, they're actually on targets. Are you with me? So basically, because they are on targets and they need to mount pressure, I understand that the fact of going to the expense of trying to blackmail people, call them names, is actually wrong. Very, very wrong. Are you with me? Or trying to publish, sending series of messages to contact, that one is actually totally wrong. I support what Ceci is saying and what everybody has been saying regarding that. But this is what I like us to know also. Just like he was talking about banks publishing names. If at all there is actually an implementation by the government that, okay, when you defaulted on your loan, you should not have access to loan anywhere else. I think there should be like and enforcement regarding that, which is not something that is being done. If you see someone owing a particular loan app, owing a microfinance bank, is collecting loans somewhere, and this thing keeps piling up on just a single person. And the problem starts from when somebody wants to have access to a loan. Let's say at first, this company gives you 20,000 naira. You can conveniently pay back 20,000 naira, but because they increased what you can get, you've forgotten that, okay, your income to actually pay back this loan can only cover for 20,000 naira you can collect. Because you have room to collect up to 100,000 naira, you wait for that instantly. And to pay back now becomes a problem because there's always a timeline for you to pay back. You understand now? So I'm trying to let people know that, okay, and when you're collecting a loan, you have to have, okay, I want to pay back. Yeah, the interest might be ridiculous, but when people want to collect this money, believe me, they know that, okay, this is the interest rate. But they will still go ahead because as at that point, they needed the money.
I get you, and I thought you would be very, very aggressive as you were on the DM. And I think what you're trying to say is this: you are taking the view that the discussion is one-sided, that people are taking loans without paying. I agree with you. What we've tried to do here, I agree with you. What I'm saying is that there is a point that many people are irresponsibly taking these loans, because they believe maybe these guys cannot do anything. Okay, oh, you publish my names, I don't care. That is true. There are many folks, even on my DM, that said, that is true. Do not take those loans. That's why I'm saying this. It has to be both sides. Don't patronize them. But the focus that we're really trying to get to today, and it's not to diminish what you're saying, is to talk about the illegality, first of all, of the whole thing, right? And the point, if you get what I completely get you. The point I'm trying to avoid is the situation where these guys become entrenched. And now because this practice now expands to even other sectors. You don't pay your insurance premium, then insurance company will send picture of some. I just want us to be careful. I get what you're saying. There is the responsibility factor. People are taking loans and not paying. I get it. But even though go for it.
These loan companies are supposed to be organizations. You can't blame individuals. The organizations should do their due diligence. How do you know that person can pay you back? What checks did you do before you gave them those loans?
That is granted, Roy. I think in America they have the ability to repay rule. They have that. But I know what Yemi is saying. There are many folks that go there, they want to borrow 10,000 and they are enticed with 50,000. And they grab 50,000, I'll pay back. I think there has to be that responsibility as well on your own part, not to just,
Absolutely, you're right, Kalu. But you see, it's easier to go after the organizations than individuals. Individuals can lie. So, and besides, the freedom of expression, the freedom of so many things, it's the organizations that the government has, they have come to establish themselves as companies. So the government has to regulate them or at least supervise them. So the responsibility, the obligation should be on the entities, the organizations, rather than individuals. Individuals can have problems, they can lie. What these governments here try to do is, let's understand that people can lie, but let us take the responsibility of not giving them the burden of taking much more than they can earn. So you see, in so many ways they try to understand that, you're going through a lot of difficulty. You need 5,000, but you cannot afford 5,000. Why don't you take 1,000? When you pay it back, we'll give you 2,000. So let the organizations do their checks, be responsible. Let us hold them responsible rather than blaming individuals. The banks should go after the individuals. We should hold the banks responsible for what they should do. I think that if we do it that way, it then becomes an organized chain.
I think so. I think that's a sound summary. Yemi, did you want to say anything to end? After Yemi is going to be Camille, then we'll end. Yemi, did you want to say anything to close out?
Okay, yes. One more thing regarding what Roy said now. Roy said, okay, so I just want to chip in something. There are cases whereby this is just to encourage people, like, okay, when sometimes those threatening message, they're actually sent by people that want to just meet their own targets for the month.
But it's wrong. It's wrong, Yemi. It's wrong.
Yes, I know it's wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like, I even have a friend that they send those type of messages, I just told her that they cannot do anything. Because I feel like, okay, this is wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is actually wrong to threaten someone, just like Ceci said, to call someone a thief when the person has not stolen anything from you.
Yeah.
Do you understand now?
So, I mean, when you go back to your industry, I mean, just this record is going to be out here. Share with them. It's wrong. I mean, someone died. So we're talking, someone died, committed suicide. You know, if you meet your target and you killed somebody, how do you wake up the next day? You know, you might think now it won't affect you, but when you killed someone, but you met your target, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, Yemi. I appreciate you talking. I really, really do. Mumuni, I see your hands. Let me get Camille to make a point, and I'll come up to Mumuni, and then we'll sort of close it out for the day. It's already 3 hours in. Camille, jump in. We can't hear the story, Camille, but jump in and make your comment, and then we'll close it out. Camille?
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can. How are you?
Oh, I'm very fine, thank you. Well, I've been waiting for a very long time for this.
I know. Sorry about it. Yeah.
So, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't just want, I just feel like maybe a lot of people need to understand this thing better. Because the lab has, I know a few of them who are very cordial with their relationship with, collecting their debt. I know the Free Africa, I know Grant, because just now, already, and I can tell you, I've been in this circle for close to 3 or 4 years, and it's so, when I mean journey, it is really killing. I've gotten all sorts of help, but in a way you still end up going back to them, and when it gets to a point where it comes to crash down, and from there you just it all, then start all over. So the guy was talking about the debt collection. It is so bad that even on your due date, as early as 2 a.m., you're already getting messages. On your due date, okay, you're going to make this payment by this time, but they won't even listen to you. They're giving you a set time. If you don't pay by this time, you are going to be in soup. And they are telling you directly you are going to be in soup. And now what this happened is because of that pressure, you are bound to go to collect from loan. We following?
Yeah.
And now, in most cases, hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, in most cases, when you get from loan B, you probably not get the whole money to settle loan A. So you might probably get from loan B, C, and D just to settle loan A. And it's just unfortunate that when you ask people, you get some help here and there, but you really can't get it all. So you lead into this whole cycle. And for you to say you want to break it, trust me, you just need to just know, okay, I'm going to just face this defamation once and for all and let it all crash down. It is killing a lot of people. And I can tell you, I'm telling you this because personally, I know what I'm going through. I'm going through hell. Like, I'm not even sugarcoating it in any way. I just needed to just let this whole thing all I'm going through. And it's just like you're working to repay debt every single day.
Camille, how much are you owing? How much are you owing? Can you say it online, or how much are you owing? Below 10, above 10?
And some it's fine. Honestly, I did it. I'm not just owing one, I'm owing like a couple of them.
Above 10 or below 10? Camille, you've gone into the matrix. So, Camille, talk to me on this.
It's like I've just been working for like some time now, and I've not had any single.
How old are you?
Savings or anything. So you just every single day, you can't just even.
Camille, let's talk on the DM. You're in the matrix. You're going off and on. Let's talk on the matrix. Talk to me on DM, right? Talk to me on DM, Camille. I'm going to shut this down. Momoni, I saw your hands up. I don't see you here again. Guys, we have to bring it to a close, right? It's 3 hours. I want guys to get a good sleep on a Monday night and be up and fresh for tomorrow. I just really have to go back and thank David and thank Ceci and Roy for stepping in and moderating at very, very short notice. I do appreciate that. David, is a great article. Many times journalism is just information, but very few times do we see journalism as creating action that leads to real change. And let me just say that you are one of the few journalists in Nigeria that is writing articles that is leading to change. People read it and people know it, and then people take action. Just want to just say that you have a lot of people that appreciate what you are doing and are wishing you the very best, just so you know that from us, right? Thank you so much for doing that. Ceci, thanks for jumping in and just being a subject matter expert on the legal side for us. We appreciate that sincerely. Roy as well, subject matter experts, and also allowing us to use his iPhone to moderate. Thank you for everyone that tried to speak that couldn't speak. I do apologize. It was a technical issue. If Roy was here earlier, so just blame Roy. If he was here earlier, I would have gotten you guys to speak. This is going to be recorded. I'm going to have this on the podcast forever, so you can actually download and listen to this recording and get all the tips that you heard and maybe didn't really follow. It's also going to be on Twitter for 30 days. So thank you all for doing this. David, do you want to say bye, and then I can shut it down. I think David is up. So guys, I'm going to shut this down. Thank you so much. You guys stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. Shutting down in 5, 4, 3, 2.